button works. Alright, everyone. I appreciate your patience on this most frightful night, but it is Thursday, which means it is also still time for a little Dungeons and Dragons right here on Lionhead Gaming. And tonight's a little special treat, as we are dressed up in wonderful little costumes that you get to see in just a moment, and we will be playing some Song of Rapture as DM'd by Monsieur Omen. Just a slight announcement, we will be trying to wrap up a little bit earlier, just have other stuff we gotta get to, and, well, Peter is also not going to be here tonight because he's celebrating his birthday, so we want to make sure he's back for whatever festivities progress in the future. But without further ado, Monsieur Omen, it is your game, your things, your story to tell. What are we doing tonight on Halloween?
Join the valiant vanguard amidst another horrifying predicament. They are currently lost within this dark and dank dungeon within a small haunted town. And where they stand now, having just recently come across a very small but meaningful victory, they now find themselves surrounded by blood-soaked and bloodthirsty monsters. But I feel like, in truth, that's not my story to tell. Can someone tell me what happened last time on a spooky episode of Song of Rapture?
Previously on Song of Rapture, surrounded by the carcasses of toothy chests and a carnivorous coffin, the valiant vanguard decided to press on in this dungeon of Dr. Gelner. Going back to the atrium, Luna spotted a door to the south, and inside was a child with long dark hair playing the piano. It was Luna, young Luna, but not quite. Gregory used his gifted sight to see what she really was, and was horrified, disgusted, to discover that she was undead. Luna pulled him aside, knowing this entire ordeal had been hard on his kind soul, and she apologized for bringing him to such a dark place. He insisted on staying, though, to put an end to this nightmare. Luna sat next to her younger self and began to play the familiar tune. Music began to fill the room, and a memory began to play in Luna's mind. Parents. Her parents. Her father playing this song, her mother creating a locket to preserve its beautiful melody. Not only were the Vanguard able to continue through a now unlocked door, but Luna was gifted with the locket made by her mother. Persephone noticed a latch in the wall, a door that was almost flush with it, and she began to open it, but was caught off guard by the water rising from a basin up the hall. Shapeless blobs of liquid engulfed her and Javen. Attacks on the water-looking monsters would cause damage to those caught within, and their blood was being absorbed by their liquid prison. Gregory pulled both of them out so Luna could use her flame to dissolve them. A quick battle, but the young druid was visibly shaking while she motioned to the nearly unlocked door. Samantha took the lead in discovering what was held within. A follower of Sune was chained to the desk and working on a paper of sorts. He had joined other members of the church in facing Eric Gelner head-on. He shared with us that Gelner was cursed with vampirism. The followers of Sune had once come to cast away this evil with their goddess's symbol, but Gelner anticipated this and hid the beacon of light away within the very dungeon. If they could find that, or if the Vanguard could find what connected Gelner to Garen's well, they would be one step closer to defeating him. After taking some time to rest, the valiant Vanguard was ready to search for the hidden symbol of Sune, but now in their possession were 3 vials of holy water and a map of plains that Samantha was able to piece together from the statue room. They proceeded down a hall to the east of the atrium, where they came upon a room of caskets and a single skull upon a pedestal. Samantha fiddled with the skull, finding that it rotated on a piston and spikes emerged depending which way it faced. And taking just a moment to analyze, the intelligent warlock pivoted the skull back and forth, releasing it from the platform. But she triggered a trap. The monsters who lay in the caskets began to rise. And so we rejoined the valiant Vanguard, surrounded by sickly monsters. What will attaining this skull lead to, and how many more horrors lie in wait for the heroes? And what more will they learn within the Doctor's lair? Find out tonight as we write another verse in Song of Rapture.
Well done, Persephone. Give yourself some DM inspiration. Alright. As indeed we join the valiant Vanguard in this small circular tomb surrounded by coffins filled with blood, but after having very quickly and deftly solved this strange mechanism and freeing this, seems like almost like a key-like skull from this pedestal, it seemed it also alerted the creatures that slept within, and these vats of blood pulling themselves.
I'm not a very hot child myself, so
Uh-oh.
That's why you don't drink with the mask you can't see from!
Oh, Bubby.
You need a straw, buddy.
As we rejoin our heroes in midst of dire street.
I know, I lost
As
track
some of
the
us
camera.
tend to some horrible burns that may have just occurred to us through bad decision making. I'm gonna need you guys to roll initiative. Also, quick question: who wants to run Javen tonight?
Oh shit.
Well, I always assume that it's always Brendan.
Anyone else want?
Brendan can't really see. I guess I'll do it.
Nick can do it!
Absolutely. One moment. Ba, 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 ba.
Let me roll my initiative here.
Yeah.
Well, do it early, because we're not on the it's great.
No, we're on a map. I just clicked on my token.
Yep, I got you.
I don't know what's going on else on the map, but I clicked on it.
Yeah, you still got your tokens. You can always do it.
Oh, that was good.
Bye.
another burp.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No, I gotta roll initiative again.
Oh no!
I'll fix it for you guys. I know what you rolled.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it.
One more time for me, Quill. Hey.
Man.
You're doing good tonight.
He rolls well on initiative. I don't know. And Katie's just sitting there screaming.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm getting eaten more.
Second, why'd that work? Roll one more time, Quill.
What?
I don't know why.
You deleted it, me?
I think so. Roll one more time for me.
Okay.
Hey.
Look at what you made me waste, Omen!
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
All part of my insidious plan. Okay.
Ha 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 ha.
That one.
I'm ready to kung fu chop. Cha 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 cha.
Two. Damn, boys.
They're rolling pretty good. Are they boys or are they women? Or is it 2019 and we can't assume gender?
It's a lot of those things.
Okay.
As we have one more roll left as we're... Oh, is he just gone? Uh-oh.
They hate to pop out quick.
Okay.
back.
Well, I'll roll some initiative for Gregory. Get him on the board. Oh, poor Gregory. Okay. It'll be a little bit before it's his turn, that's fine. Does anyone want to just put a hand on Gregory in case something pops up? You're like, Gregory would or would do this for the time being.
Sure, I'll do it. I'll do it.
Okay, sure.
I'll do it.
John will keep his hand on Gregory as you guys currently in your situation, realizing how the dangers of this dungeon seem to pop out of nowhere, having realized that some things that seem mundane come to life, and just being off the end of a rest, your senses sharpened. I'm going to say for this combat, you guys are not surprised. You figured this was going to be some sort of trap. And so we begin with Javen, the fastest among you, realizing you see out of these broken and cracked coffins all around you, these surges of blood seem to explode forth, and from within, these pale bodies, now stained red with the dark ichor, come crawling out, hand and feet on top of these stone slabs, looking in your direction, look like they're getting ready to pounce, their teeth bared. What do you do?
Oh, hell. As Jaden was just gonna run to Liska and just try to make go to sleep.
Okay.
We will make 3 attacks.
Nice. Give me those attacks. Ooh, that first one connects as the second one, these 2 punches flying into this creature's face. Seems like you were quicker on the draw than it, despite having get the jump on you. As one crashes across its face, as does the other, as I'm going to need those damage rolls. The last one, unfortunately, seems like recoiling from the second strike causes her to sort of pull back and repain, which causes your quick fist to just veer in front of her face. 6 damage. Ooh, and 9 damage. Ooh. Okay.
That'll be your turn.
Okay. They're running up and landing 2 harsh strikes on this creature. As just as quickly as you strike into it, Javen, this thing pulls itself back onto its clawed feet, almost lifting itself off the ground in more of a standing position, although it wasn't quite prone. It reaches out and just tries to lash one of its claws against your body, crying out as it does, just Ugh! Trying to claw ya. Ooh. But too quick on your feet. This thing seems like after your blows, its eyes, its senses are sort of disoriented, and so it just swings wildly at the air, but then it comes in with another claw attack, trying to land its sharp points into your scaled body. Ooh, but still dazed and stunned, this thing is just swinging out wildly, basically just cutting at the air as its eyes are blinking, just trying to regain its focus. That is all it's going to do. Luna, you can see inside this room. This looks like your allies are now being beset by more of these sick and pale creatures that are lurching towards them. You can see that Javen's already come upon one and starts striking into its body and seem to disorient it a bit. What do you do?
See into... Actually, I don't even know what I can see, but I see the 2 closest to Samantha, knowing that she isn't really a frontline fighter like the rest of the group. He's going to use 2 sorcery points to use his feat that I've never used before, and Chaos Bolt that creature.
Okay. Give me them shots. It looks like there would be some cover in your way just trying to shoot at it, but again, fortunately, you are quite able to aim around your allies. But these creatures are very fast on their feet, and as this bolt of energy comes flying over your ally's shoulders and into it, it immediately pulls itself off the spot, and it strikes into the lid of the coffin, missing.
And then I will take 5 force points and turn into a 3rd level spell slot. So I'll be done.
Nice. Okay. Down by you, Quill, as your defenses are being ready, this creature closest to you lurches forward on top of the coffin in your direction. And again, a claw reaching out, looks like it's trying to clasp onto your armor more than rip through it. As a 14, as the claws just scatter across the steel, not able to find purchase. As another attack's coming your way as well. Ooh, a 23 this time.
Okay.
As the claws seem to hit you, but again, it seems like it's not trying to actually break through the armor, although it seems like the tips do seem to bend some of the steel. Instead, it seems like it's just trying to keep a hold on you, as it looks like you are currently grappled. And as you're being held in this thing's hand, you hear its claws scraping against the stone beneath its feet as it begins to drag you back with it. And as it gets this wall, it seems like with the last of its movement, one of its hands kept on you, the other one placed and planted on the ground. You can see its feet almost scatter and skitter up the wall itself, as if it's like climbing backwards up the wall. I said it's about 5 feet off the ground, but that's about as far as it can make. It seems like it's dragging up the wall. Let go of that thing! As Quill, it comes to you, now grappled by this creature.
I'm gonna break her grip.
Okay. Ooh, as you're just trying to rip away from this thing's pretty strong hands and see if you can do it. Ooh, it's a tight grip, Quill, but you're pretty strong yourself for an elf and able to just batter your hand away from it, or batter its hand away from you.
And I want to do that. Yep, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. Alright, nope. Wait, nope, that's not what I want to do. I want to do that. There we go. As I'm gonna swing out at her with one sword attack.
Elegant couture?
Nah, don't worry about that one.
Fine.
I'm at fighting spirit.
Gotcha. Okay, so you did use one of your action to basically break free of the grapple.
Yeah.
That takes your full action to basically do that. So are you action surging to do it again, or are you...
Oh, nope, then. I'll just then... I thought maybe I'd go.
Oh, I thought he was using an attack. That's why you rolled
Yeah.
against him.
No, because it's that. Oh, you're... Wait, oh, no. Are you pushing him?
Yeah, I was like pushing her off.
Oh, I thought you were escaping the grapple. That's
No, I
that's
was
a full
pushing
action.
her off of me.
Okay, sure. So yeah, you can basically shove her off and away from the wall with one of your attacks. That's fine. Sort of pushes her up higher on the wall, though, so she's now 10 feet high. 'Cause she's against the wall, basically. There's nowhere to really push her back. So it's either up
Okay.
or, yeah.
Then...
But you're
I
not
must
free.
have- Okay, good. Now I will go here and swing at that one.
Okay.
Oh wait, I have it. So, just in case. Okay, good.
Ooh, nice. As, yeah, with your fighting spear. It wasn't looking when you use your fighting spirit. If there is even a look to it.
In this case, right, as I push her off, I'm just gonna run the sword off the stone coffin as sparks fly, as they just seem to kind of attach to my armor, making it a little bit stronger, a little bit more hardy, as it's almost a coating over it. As I swing out and try to cut this creature right across the chest.
Nice. Seems like there's almost a magical trait to it, as seems like you sort of pull upon the power of these sparks to enhance your armor, give you a bit more durability, and then your sword comes flying quick and true as it does cut into this creature. Give me that. Oh, it's alright. 9.
Yep, 9. That should be my turn then.
As you see your sword just cuts into its side, immediately you see the wound open up and some like dark red blood begins to spill, and she recoils back in pain, but seems like she's still pretty hardy in keeping her stance. As this creature here on top of this other broken coffin begins to lurch forward, seeing now there's a larger creature in her way, comes up to you, Quill. Seems like its attention was pulled away from Samantha to the large and armored man in front of her. As the claws coming out to grab at you again. Ah. Ooh! And it seems like this time a firm and sure grasp takes hold of your arm and pulls you close. As it seems like this time this creature is trying to lurch in, and rather than pull you up against the wall, is just trying to reach out and sink its fangs into the small amount of flesh you keep above your heavy armored body. And it's going in for a bite. Ooh, a 24. As you're sort of dealing with this one creature, keeping your armor strong and your defense is high, this creature seems to catch you by the side by surprise and pull you forward and sink teeth into your neck as you take 9 piercing damage as well as 5 necrotic, the piercing hitting first. In terms of your temporary hit points. So you would take... Yeah. And as you feel the teeth sink into your neck, it seems like your armor sort of bolstered your body as well, making it a little easier to take the sharp pain. But then this sudden chill fills your body, and you feel this warmth leave you into this creature's mouth. As, yeah, it seems like it sucks out some of your life, as your maximum hit points have been reduced by 5.
Oof.
Here.
Mm-hmm. As you have been grappled, and by the last movement, it seems like this creature starts to keeping its teeth sunk into your neck, Quill, and its hand on you. It begins to do what the similar creature did, and just starts to pull you back. Samantha, you can get an opportunity attack if you have a melee attack you want to do.
I do not. I'll save my reaction.
Sure. As the creature gets about here, that's as far as it can make it. And as this creature moves away, you can see Samantha dragging Quill closer to this wall on top of this coffin. The creature that it just struck looks down at its wound, and it looks up at you, and then it just throws its full body forward at you. As I'm going to need an athletics or an acrobatics check.
snake.
Niggeth neck.
Ooh, all right. And see, let's do that.
Belly dance
Yeah.
away.
As it seems like you're quite quick on your feet, and as this creature comes bounding into your body, you're able to keep your balance and sort of shove it off of you. Seems like it was trying to pounce you and knock you off of your feet, but you're able to keep your footing. In this case, you see this creature looking at you as it starts to breathe heavily. You can see that wound on its body, the blood sort of still spilling before it stops, and then seems like the wound is now healing itself. Creature reaches out and just tries to clasp onto you with its claw. Ooh, but not doing it. Able to easily dodge it.
If she
Ooh,
reaches out, I'm gonna cut her.
nice. As you swing your sword, you see this creature trying to get at Samantha. The attack goes flying, it misses, but while it leaves it open, Quill, you swing your sword and cut into her side, and seem to almost reopen a similar wound to the last one in her body.
Didn't even miss a turn. Perfect.
Good job.
I've got a new chair. I've got new clothes. I got a new keyboard.
Jesus.
Oh, chair too?
Oh,
Poor
man.
Willow.
And I burnt the shit out of my foot.
Oh, Bubby.
Better your foot than something else,
But
buddy.
Some ice on it. When
All
you
all ran down my left leg.
Oh no, Bubby.
Uh,
Happy Halloween, Samantha. Holding the skull in your hand and now seeing these creatures clambering around, one of them trying to grasp at you and pounce you. Seems like these things are attacking like rabid animals.
Yeah,
What do you do?
I just conjure forth my magic, holding the skull in one hand, my scepter in the other, and both of them just begin to glow with green light as I slap out to the left with my scepter, shooting an Eldritch Blast into this one, and then just trying to charge magic through the skull and just forcing an Eldritch Blast out of it in the shape of a skull at I don't really have a good angle on that one. So yeah, on this one, just trying to shove her further up the wall, just trying to uppercut her with an Eldritch Blast.
Yeah, with your angle, if you really wanted to shoot her further up the wall, you have to get closer to the bottom, because right now you're kind of shooting at an angle. It pushes her further into the wall, basically.
Okay.
But yeah.
And then I will use my my bonus action to summon forth my scales, my aspect of the serpent, and protect myself, give myself a bit more slipperiness. 2 shots. First shot at the one right in front of me.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, that will definitely hit.
Girl.
Ooh, that will also definitely hit as these creatures both get battered by the magic.
First one in front. Wall girl.
As the first creature in front of you gets blasted, I'm assuming you're just pushing her as far as you can.
Yes, just throw her up against the wall.
Immediately hits the wall. As it almost knocks her off her feet, but fortunately the wall kind of gives her a bit of leverage to get back up. As this creature climbing up the wall gets battered off, you can see her almost slide like maybe a few feet upward, just because of your are still shooting up at an angle, but her claws seem to dig in and keep herself from moving any further.
Alright, I can take these things, as I'll just pivot around the now cleared platform here in the middle and try to position myself right about there. Right about there.
Okay.
That is it for me.
Okay. As down by you, Gregory, it seems like all these creatures are taking action. You're getting ready to pull your sword out and enter the defensive mode as this creature, just within feet of you, sort of performs a similar thing to Samantha. It crawls along this coffin and gets to your side. And immediately, as it lands on all fours, it picks itself up, and a claw comes reaching out to clasp at your shoulder, almost like it's trying to jump and grab onto you.
I'm not trying to really slash out to get it away from me. I'm just trying to defend myself, but it's somewhat half-heartedly, and I will certainly.
As these claws clasp into your shoulder, and you feel a sharp pain as it seems like their long claw-like nails touch your skin and pull, but they're not enough to really cause you too much harm. This seems like it's holding onto a tight grip. And as it holds onto one side of your neck, it leans over to the other side, just trying to get past the fur and the mantle you wear, just to sink its fangs down into it. Ooh. But a 10 won't do it, I'm assuming.
I'm just struggling to get away from this thing's grasp, like grab onto its arm. Come on! As I just try to shove its body away from me, although I can't quite free myself from its grasp, but it's easy enough to keep its teeth away from me.
Sure. And as it does so, you're starting to struggle with this thing. Although it's You find points where you can sort of pull against her weight, as you're quite a strong man. You can see that her claws on her feet sort of dig and tear almost like cleats as she begins to drag you up against this stonework, as it seems like while you were held in her grasp, she is beginning to slowly but surely drag you closer to these walls.
God damn it, get off of me!
That is as far as you can go. As Persephone, you're seeing your allies being beset by these creatures, some of them being grabbed and dragged with claws, and others seeming to keep their own and fight back against them.
Persephone, seeing them grabbing onto the stronger looking of the group and pull them with almost no effort. She's seeing Greg get pulled, him being the closest to her, and her hand is going to start wrapping in wood and vine. Let him go! As I'm going to use my gift of the Guardian to try to grab Gregory and pull him back out of her hold.
Okay. He's gonna have a little bit of cover, but that doesn't matter, as you're trying to whip around over Gregory's shoulder to get to this guy and then drag her over. But it seems like with your certain aim and the direness of this...
I was trying to get Gregory.
Oh, Gregory! Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wag away.
Yeah, it's not gonna hurt ya. You're just gonna have a giant woody hand grab you and yank you away.
Yeah,
Sure.
that wouldn't hand.
Well, yes. How far are you pulling him? You pull him up to... I'm assuming you're just choosing no damage, pulling him up to 20 feet, so...
Yeah.
Just right here?
Yeah, I'm just gonna pull him right here. Just want her to not be holding him anymore.
Nice. Yep, as it seems like as you rip him away, this sudden force of magic seems to slip it from this creature's grasp. You feel the sharp pain, Gregory, as the claws leave your neck, but it seems like you're now free.
Thanks, Purse.
No problem. Just take these things down quickly. That's my turn.
All right, Gregory.
I get yanked away from this thing as I see it like halfway crawling up the wall as I get pulled away from its grasp. Just looking at it, still seeing its human features. These people are obviously people once upon a time, and Samantha's words still echo in my mind. I just... Please. Anyone, show me the damn truth of this! As he will bring the sword up, known for truth, bring it down and slam the blade into the ground as light will just explode through the room as I channel my divinity to cause the undeath in this room to turn. As I'm turning the unholy, trying to see if they actually are turned or not. As there's a little bit of hope in Gregory in both ways, but he just has to know before he does anything else. Everything within 30 feet that's undead.
All right, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And it's, I'm assuming your DC is like 14, 15?
Yeah, it's not great. 15.
Okay. Yes, it seems like all these creatures immediately, as the light seems to boom, pulse out from your sword and fill the room for just a moment before it begins to dim down back to your torchlight. It seems like these creatures immediately have a physical response to it. Even the one holding on the quill seems to be like looking in your direction as they pull back. You can see one of their hands moving over their eyes. Turn it off! Stop it! As it seems like the creature closest to you who just accosted you, creature now fighting against Javen, and the one that was originally trying to claw at Quill but then was blasted by Samantha. It seems like they are all affected by this, immediately pulling away, sort of their eyes trying to be covered by their hands, barely peeking out to get sight of you guys, but not really one to get any closer. Well, the others, one with its fangs currently sunk into Quill's neck, and the other one crawled up the wall almost like a spider on the stone. Seems like they are squinting their eyes, trying to look at you through the light, but they aren't really turned by it.
Thank you. Terrified that they can't run past you.
Mm-hmm.
They literally can't leave the room.
As I see some of them, these things cowering away, and some of them fighting against the effect of the gods pouring their divine guidance into this room, I just turn. Thank you. As I pull up my blade and start making my way to this one in the corner that seems like it's about to regather itself to strike out. As I put myself in front of it, pulling up my blade, as I wrap my other hand around my holy symbol around my neck, as it begins to glow ever so slightly and just warmly spread across my body, where my armor seems to start to shine ever so slightly. As I'm also going to cast a little armor on myself.
Nice.
Well, shield of faith. You ain't alive no more. Oh, a damn lie. As that's me.
Okay. As you're looking up at this creature up against the wall, you can see its like claws and feet stuck into the stonework. It's about 10 feet up off the ground. As we come back to Javen, it seems like you just punched this creature, twice in the face, and it seemed like it almost disoriented. It couldn't quite strike out at you, but now you have your wind back and you're ready to strike again. What do you do?
Gregory has never used this ability before, right?
Turn the undead?
Yeah.
Turn the unholy? He's used it before in the island of Stroma. It was a big help there.
Is Javen there?
Yep.
Where did
Yeah.
Javen join us? Okay, so he knows what's happening.
I also used it in Undead Place when we were going after witches. Used it twice.
Yeah, he used it in the cereal too.
Alright, so Javen, seeing that this creature is now afraid, he's going to let her stay that way for now, as he will kind of look at the other people and see who has not been effective and run past Samantha and hop over this casket. And
As you're trying to run away, Javen, this creature... Well, actually, no, can't take her. Come on, come on. It's just holding its hands in front of its face. Not looking.
Oh, yeah!
I love it.
as he will beat her face in.
Break
Ooh.
a fucking
As
job!
all three of those attacks, this thing seems to be sinking its teeth into Quill's neck and pulling away. Now look sort of distracted by the light that Gregory created with his holy words. Suddenly you find an opening and all three strikes will connect. Ooh. Little strikes. Like you feel this thing's grip starting to loosen on you a bit, but still remains at least attached to you as it takes a considerable amount of damage. Nice. All three strikes battering into this hardened, almost like stiff corpse-like body, but it still remains standing.
As it'll be his turn.
All right. As this creature, still holding its hands in front of its eyes, unable to see, unable to act, realizes that its prey had run away before it was able to act. So instead, it turns to the wall behind it, and you can hear it skittering as claws dig into the stone as it climbs up to this large, rounded ceiling, making it about to the highest point, which in here is about 40 feet high. Where it stops and just turns around, just trying to find a place to hide, but there really are no crooks or crevices in this place. This large dome-shaped room seems like it's just sort of sticking to the ceiling above, just looking down. But you can hear hissing, like, "Turn that light off! Turn it off! It hurts us! It hurts us!"
It'll all be over soon.
As Luna comes to you.
As I just eat my screen off of that area, I'll firebolt the guy that's attacking Quill and Javen.
All right. It's finally able to keep this thing still. It seems like it's stuck on the Quill. Your bolt of flame flies through this white flickering fire, and it strikes through into its body. Is that will connect? Ooh! Doing a considerable amount of damage. As the blast hits its shoulder, you can see the white flame crackling across the remains of its clothing, and it seems to burn and scald this creature quite heavily.
Sadly, that's the most I'm going to be able to give you guys. I mean, you don't have a lot of spell slots. Well, you don't have a lot of magical energy. Is that will be my turn?
Nice. As above you, Gregory, this creature seems like it's able to keep its stare on you despite this burning light that seems to fill the room for a moment. That seems like that even though it's now faded and almost like unrecognizable, it seems like they still see it quite strongly. But this creature, eyes narrowed, looking down at you. Over soon? No. The doctor said it won't be over. It won't be over for us. As it throws itself off and starts to try and land on top of you, Gregory, as I'm going to need an athletics or an acrobatics.
I have a feeling I know which one I'm going to use on that.
I don't know.
As
Like
I
it might
just
be a-
bring my sword up in front of me and just try to shove this thing off.
Okay.
Little 29?
I think it can. As the creature comes falling down, but this time you're ready for it. Your sword brought up, you just batter it off. Keep it from pouncing on top of you as it instead lands down hard on top of this stone as its claws scatter. It seems to hit the ground prone again. 6 damage. You hear this loud crack as the stone breaks beneath its body just a bit. As it hits the ground considerably hard, but then pulls itself back up to its feet with the rest of its movement. And then drags itself forward as, again, another hand reach out to grab onto you. Ooh. But this time, as your armor warms across your body, strong and firm, this creature just lashing out wildly with a considerable amount of strength, despite having just hit the ground and broken stone and maybe even cracked one of its bones. It still reaches out with considerable power and latches onto you and then rips across your arm as it seems like it's no longer trying to hold on to you anymore, as you're going to get some cuts. Again, 14 slashing damage.
As it rips across my arm, you just hear the as it starts to rip and tear into some of the mail that makes up my armor, as you just hear clink, and like the shoulder pad of my armor just comes loose, and it just loosens its grasp. As my halberd gonna help me out a little bit, negate that.
As you only take 8 damage.
And I had, where did our temporary hit points come from? I had 4 temporary hit points for some reason. I don't remember where.
I heal my fairies.
But that was
Gotcha.
for the short rest?
Yeah.
So then those should be gone. No,
So
those
they
should last.
go long?
They last.
They should last, so yeah.
I thought most
So
stuff
you
is long rest.
Right. So you only take 4 slashing damage as these claws rake through your armor comes apart slightly to sort of absorb the blow. And it seems like some remnant magic keeping your vitality strong helps you stand it.
I'm at the point where I can't fail normal concentration checks. Woohoo!
Ooh, nice. Okay. As Quill, with this thing pulling its teeth from your neck and taking a few blows in front of you, its hands still holding onto your body.
Grapple just
What do you
means
do?
I don't have movement speed, right?
You have no movement speed, and basically, yeah, you just can't move from this spot.
Okay, well, I'm gonna stab her.
Okay. Ooh, as this creature is sort of wild and flailing in front of you, but you find a point in the middle of its wild and frantic movements to stab out at it, and it does connect. As she takes a hard amount of damage.
I'm gonna stab her again.
Ooh, it seems like using that wound to open up, cut again. How do you want to crit this thing?
As, like, I'm just going to take the sword and I'm gonna stick it as her jaws are just latched onto me. I'm gonna stick it, like, right alongside her jawline and try to sever the muscles in her jaw.
Ooh, as the blade comes rising up and tears through its body, you see its jaw hangs open wide, unable to bite anymore. As this thing is barely alive, but blood pouring out of it. You can see you almost like wounded this thing. Seems like it's not gonna be able to bite anytime soon now.
Check. As for my bonus action, front line. Now, the way I read this, right, if she tries to pull me, I can still strike her, right?
While within your reach? Technically, yes.
She's
Okay.
moving.
It's within your reach, and she's moving with you, so yeah. She's
Okay.
moving 5 feet, and she's within your reach.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Nice. Good use of that ability.
I thought so!
Nice. Is that your
Sometimes
turn?
I read my character sheet. Yep, that's gonna be my turn.
Alright. As this creature, bloody and wounded, you can see it barely latching on its jaw, just hanging now. You can see slowly but surely some of the tendons begin to rise up its face and latch on to where they once were, as it seems like it's healing itself. But even so, Quill, you feel that harsh strength into your shoulder release, as it seems like it lets you go from the grapple. And as it does, it pushes itself up against the wall, similar to the others, and you can see it pulling up and just trying to essentially run away, climbing about 10 feet up the wall. Ooh, as you reach up and cut across her body, doing another considerable amount of damage, almost doing as terrible damage as you did when you cut up its jaw. And how does it not move anymore?
So as she starts to climb, I'm just gonna take the sword out as I'm gonna just cut, and you just see the sword just fly quickly, and you see toot, 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 as several of her fingers fall off of her hands as she's trying to climb up this wall.
Nice. As she's trying to climb up, you can see her hands and some of the toes on her claws, keeping her trying to move. Basically keep her from doing so, and she hits the ground trying to move even more, but it seems like the blood that spills from her digits is making the ground a bit slippery and hard for her to move, as she has no movement speed.
Yeah, I did a combo thing! Woo, I did it!
Yeah, you did. As this creature here up the wall seems like it's still covering its eyes from the light. Get rid of it! Get rid of that light! It's going to kill us! As you hear skitter, skitter, skitter up the wall even higher, back to that 40-foot mark. Just trying to find a place to get away from this thing, but nowhere to move. As Samantha, you see this bloody, wounded, almost dismembered creature in front of you. The other ones are starting to pull away. It seems like Gregory has one on the ropes.
Yeah, seeing this thing just constantly sort of stitching its wounds together, Samantha is just going to try to conjure forth an Eldritch Blast, but then just use her will to try to influence it. She knows a whole lot about poisons, and that some of them can cause flesh to rot, and some of them can cause, well, things like this to no longer function. And she's going to try to force her will through the magic, which I think requires a Arcana check?
Mm-hmm.
As I am using my Emerald Shard.
Ooh.
Calling on Eldritch Blast, but then morphing it and causing the green snake that forms around her scepter to turn this black and ghastly ghost-like color, almost ethereal in nature, as I'm going to try to force a chill touch out at the one facing off against Gregory, not wanting this thing to start healing itself.
Alrighty, give me that Arcana check. See if you can pull upon that magic and force your will to make a spell happen. Hey! As
Just
maybe it's the
barely.
heat of the moment. Now, even if it's the heat of the moment, it seems like it's not quite able to form that magic, but then when you see these things, realizing what they are and how you need to stop it, that last piece of information clicks in your head, that emerald lodged in the mouth of your scepter glows, and you channel the magic forth. Let's give me that attack roll.
Chill touch. There it is. Yeah!
Ooh! As an energy, what's it looking when you cast Chill Touch? Like an Eldritch Blast changing or something else?
Yeah, so like it's like this the same sort of arrow into serpent that then turns black and gray, like the sort of ethereal quality to it, as though it's just going to latch on to her and just keep her from healing as it just fills it full of necrotic energy.
Sure. Alright, give me that damage.
Yeah, take that 3 damage.
As you can see, the energy bashes into its body. You can see it sort of spread throughout its form, this sort of pulse of dark, shadowy, gray energy as it runs across its now blood-dripping form. You can see it sort of shiver as it seems like it takes effect. You can see some of the wounds that were starting to rise up begin to slow in their regeneration, almost stopping. But you see it almost like the energy itself doesn't seem to slow its movements down very much at all, as it seems like it only takes a very small amount of damage. Seems like trying to pump evil, not evil, I suppose, life-draining energy into these things that almost seem like husks. Not going to be very effective.
Samantha will adjust her combat strategy going forward. But that's all. That's all we have.
Mm-hmm. With that. This creature here as well, clinging to the wall, still trying to cover its eyes. Turn it off! Get that light! It hurts! As it crawls up the wall as well, just sort of taking its position and just trying to keep itself away from the light to the furthest point of the darkness that it reaches up to the ceiling. But as it all does, as Persephone, it seems like you saved Gregory, and now he's sort of turning the tides on this other creature you can sort of see around the corner just barely. But it seems like the rest of them are either dying or retreating.
Seeing some of them starting to scale up the walls, Persephone is going to run into the room to get a better vantage point on everything. She's already starting to climb up the wall.
She's about 10 feet. Oh no, she got back on her feet. She's in front of Gregory.
Alright, that's fine. And this one... over
This
here.
guy is
I can't see
currently-
her number.
I'm sorry, she's currently 40 feet up the wall, like basically at the ceiling at this point.
God damn it, they're all so fucking high. Okay, that's fine. Persephone is going to see this one over here. She's falling apart, so she's going to extend her hand, and it's going to spiral out towards her as I'm going to do with the attack.
Ooh. It's a little tricky because, again, you have
Yeah.
Quill just in the way, this creature's dangling, but it seems like with just enough space, Samantha moving out of the way to cast her magic, there's just enough area just to thread that needle, as that will connect.
Ha-ha!
Ooh, and how do you want to kill it?
Oh, yes.
As my thorn whip starts to kind of weave between my friends, the thorns are going to jut outwards as it makes contact with this thing. And Persephone's going to pull back quickly, ripping flesh away as her arm comes back to normal into her socket.
You just tear away at this thing, almost like ripping away some of its flesh. You can see all of its arms, its legs, seems like they've been ripped by blenders as it pulls at the ground and hits the ground hard as it just begins to bleed out and immediately goes still in the ground. One last sort of gurgle.
We're gonna need to start picking them off the walls. It's my turn.
That won't be a
Okay.
problem.
Gregory, this creature now in front of you. It seems like Samantha battered it with some magic, but it doesn't seem too phased by it. Only seems like the wound that you basically placed on its body is only slowly but surely beginning to stitch itself up.
Yeah, just trying my best to fucking keep my calm. Thankfully, with the realization, the guidance of the gods on my side, seeing the truth of all of this, peace comes to his mind just a little bit. He doesn't let that rage fucking overtake him, although it's still fucking building. This fucking doctor still turned people into these things, and now he knows there's no fucking saving them. I'm sorry. This has to be done, though. God damn! As he just brings the sword up and just brings it down, just trying to aim for her shoulder, basically just lop it into her body. Just cutting downwards, striking recklessly as he does, and yeah, he's trying to end these things suffering as quick as he can. So recklessly and with great weapon master.
Sure. Give me that attack roll.
Ooh, I don't
as
know
that
why
will
my
connect.
sacred weapon's on. Whoops.
Oh, that's okay. It's 5 plus. Hold on.
I mean, it's still 24 to hit.
Okay.
Eh?
As you're swinging, as you're swinging down with your sword, this creature still sort of unfazed by the energy starts to look down at its wound as it slowly begins to heal, sort of confused, and that catches enough time for your sword to swing fast and cut it. Ooh, as you
Just sinking into its shoulder. Just trying to cut into basically the chest cavity. Just seeing how these things respond as I pull the blade out. Help! As I just stab it into where its heart would be, or I attempt to, with the same strike, giving away my defenses, letting my magic try to protect me. 20s?
Ooh, that'll do.
As I just stab the blade into where her heart is, as I just push it in as deep as I can. It'll be another 24
Ooh.
damage.
As you cut down to one side of its body, you can see it immediately recoils in a great amount of pain, but not as much maybe you'd expect if someone just got their body almost bisected by a giant sword. But then when you reach back and stab up to its chest, it rides back, and instead the sword goes through its stomach as it takes another considerable amount of damage. Although this time, as it lurches forward, the blade rips out of its body. It's just you here to kill him. I won't let you. As it seems like it's barely held together, but still breathing somehow, still functioning.
Just try to find peace after this. As I just bring my blade back out, as I prepare to strike again, but that's my...
Okay. As we come back around the corner to Javen, having seen this creature get blasted by, basically wrapped around with sharp thorns and then torn apart to pieces. Its flesh wrapped in ribbons. Now you see these creatures are now climbed up the wall outside of everyone's reach, except for one that Gregory seems to be cutting apart with his giant sword. What do you do?
That's the one he will go against us. He will slip past Quill, and as he's running towards this creature, he's gonna jump into the air and try to give him like a flying kick. High jump kick as he crashes into the wall and injures himself.
Nice.
Let's see if I've revived my other keyboard.
Ooh, it seems like with your firm step and now without anything but your allies in your way, they've been able to bounce off each one of these stones and the tiles on the floor. So eventually, with that last hop, you jump and kick this creature right in the head. That will connect. Ooh, doing 8 damage. Creature recoils back in the middle, speaking to Gregory as blood comes flying out of its mouth. It seems like he even knocks some of its teeth out.
And as he is coming down from that kick, he's going to spin around and just whip her face with his tail.
Oh, that will also connect. Ooh, and how do you want to kill this one?
As he whips it with his tail, the creature's head will just kind of spin all the way around. I don't know if that will kill a vampire, but it kills this vampire.
Sure, roll me a straight up just strength check. Ooh, just enough. As you spin your tail around, you hear this terrible crackle. Again, these things are hardy. It's almost like trying to punch like a cadaver at times. But with your momentum and your firm strike and all that damage you did, you swing your tail. You see the head spin around on its neck, and it sort of twirls, lasts a little bit. You hear this terrible crackle as it seems like the head rolls off the shoulder. Eventually, it falls to the ground dead, bleeding out of its neck as the head is sort of broken and agape on the ground.
And then, what can he do as a bonus action? What does he do other than get drunk and punch people?
More punches.
Hits people. Hits them with his tail.
All the punches.
He'll spend the key point to take the dodge action. It's a bonus action, I think.
Sure. Taking the step of the wind. Okay.
Yeah, that's what we do.
As this creature's still climbing up the wall, you see finally as it gets to the top, like some of the last of its wounds from, especially, I guess, like, most Persephone and Samantha, your eyes can sort of catch this creature. Like one of the broken, like, it looks like a twisted jaw I got from Javen's punch is now sort of snapping back into place. It seems like it's regained its former constitution. And instead, you see it just sort of crawl itself along the ceiling, trying to get up here. He's trying to get as far away as it can. Just please, just leave. Get that blasted light out of here. As it seems like he pulls her hands over her eyes, and you can almost hear this like soft, like crackling sound as it pulls away. And you can see just as quickly as they're being almost burned by this now non-existent light, it seems like their eyes are healing. That's all it
This place
does.
is sitting in the dark too damn long.
As Luna comes to you.
As we enter the building, so you can see the creatures on the ceiling, and say, is it scary that I kind of agree with them? As I will firebolt that creature.
Nice. Creature's clambered up the wall. You can see it on the ceiling, and then throw a bolt of fire that crashes into its body. Ah! As the white light crackles and burns, it moves its hand to guard its eyes from it as well, but doesn't stop it from being horribly singed by its flame.
That will be my turn.
Alright. Creature is dead. Quill, you see this creature now broken and bloody on the ground before you, and it seems like more of these things are clattering across the walls.
I'm trying to remember. Shoot. If they take damage, do they break the turn undead, or is it just infinite?
It's if they take damage.
Okay. So can I tell, like, is this creature, like, not running away or shielding her eyes anymore, or?
It seems like after the wound smashes into its shoulder, begins to burn and crackle the flesh, her hand moves away from her eyes to touch the wound, and it seems like, although for a moment her eyes are still sort of coming back and sort of healing themselves, it seems like it's starting to come down from whatever condition kept them from approaching you guys.
Okay. I'm gonna move
Brilliant.
there.
What?
Make you weird noises.
Like the fuck? How do you hear me?
Oh, are you? I think you're going through roll.
Oh, probably. It says broadcast video. Alright, let me
What
check.
are you doing, Quill?
I'm gonna move over there. I'm gonna do a little front line and hold my action for her to come down so I can fucking stab her.
Nice. Anything else you want to do?
Nope.
Okay. As you achieve a sort of a defensive position, just waiting for this thing to approach. You choose your frontline style, as this creature here is also dead. Okay, this creature held up against the wall, now realizing this wound, sort of taking its attention away from a now non-existent light. It blinks a couple times. Falsehoods. Foul tricks of magic. She looks then at you, Quill. Teeth bared. And she seems to skitter down the wall very quickly and then jump off, as I'm going to need an athletics or acrobatics check. Ooh. As this creature's trying to throw itself just into your range. As it does approach you within 5 feet. You want to try an opportunity attack that.
Wing it.
Ooh, as that does.
And when it comes into my range, do I get to use my held attack as well?
Are you holding your attack and attacking twice, or are you using your opportunity attack?
Well, so I don't have to use my reaction to use my opportunity attack.
That's true. Yeah, you
So
can
I
attack
get
it
three
if
attacks, right?
Sure, absolutely.
Boo boo!
Ooh, as this thing
jumping
approaches.
and I'm just slicing and cutting and spearing.
Nice. As this thing
God, I
jumps
wish
forward,
you were a weeb sometimes, John.
Quill, you have your sword in your hand as creature approaches. 3 quick cuts as all 3 of them will connect you.
Which is the first 2, right? Because they both take reactions.
No, there's opportunity attacks.
No, because my front line does it.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
He just gets to hit him with a
Quill,
barrage.
Quill,
of
the
3 quick
defensive
strikes.
protective fighter, as all these attacks will connect. That's 9, 21, 30, plus 45. All right. As all 3 of these attacks cut into its body, you can see as one strike hits it, Quill, one of them so strong it goes up through its shoulder, and you can see falling down, spinning next to you, clattering off the ground, is one of its arms as you have disarmed this thing. Doing a considerable amount of damage. As and just before it reaches you, it seems to that last strike as disarming it caused it to sort of stumble in its crawl as it loses its movement speed, ends up falling and hitting the ground.
Woo! I did another thing!
It takes 2 because it goes within your reach. 5 damage, nice. It hits the ground, and considering that's all of its movement, creature has to basically try and actually can't even do that as it hits the ground and can't get back up.
Hey!
As what does it do in this day? Nice. As it tries to pull itself up on one arm, it just tries to, as best as it can, just sort of flail its claws at you, just trying to grasp at your feet with its clawed hand.
As I finish my last strike on this creature as it falls to the ground, I almost a bit of a matador of just like open the way, ushering Samantha to shoot it.
But it is getting an attack on you, as it's on the prone ground, use all its movement, can't get back up, but it's going to try to just grasp at you. But disadvantage, because it is on the ground prone. Ugh.
Pathetic.
Clasping on the ground.
I'm just gonna put the boot up and just like hold like what an older brother does, just
As this thing is barely alive, just clawing at your feet. As Samantha comes to you, you see Quill keeping his boot on this creature's head, keeping it from just trying to rip up at his leg.
So I will slowly but surely move through the path that Quill has opened for me, approaching with utmost confidence as my serpents just peer down at this thing on the ground, grasping up at Quill, and mouths just begin to open, green eldritch energy crackling within as I just try to laze this thing to death on the ground.
Nice.
As,
As you will have advantage, it's on the ground prone, you have no disadvantage from shooting point blank range, so pretty easy shot. Unless you miss one.
Yeah, knowing that one serpent's going to conjure forth a blast at its face, and the other peering across the room will shoot a blast at this one. And I will use my bonus action to infuse my blasts with my wretched poison magic. Advantage on this one. Nice, 13. And then
Ooh,
shooting
Go on.
at the other.
Ooh. As his first shot comes down, this creature just writhing on the ground, his body sort of cut up. Even with your advantage, you have a pretty clear shot. His body is still writhing, trying to crawl up at Quill. Seems to pull itself just out of the way as the blast batters against the ground. But this creature up on this wall, the blast going flying and true, strike it. How do you want to crit this thing?
Yeah, so Samantha's attention, most of her snakes and the one that fired the blast, all looking across the room at this one. Just one head looking at this one, assuming that she was going to be successful. So she's just pouring all of her energy into it and just trying to force this thing's head off of its body. Just trying to scour its skin and flesh away with her magic.
Nice. Give me that damage roll.
So
I totally just
one
want to
snake just sees a bit of a disappointing look. Boil.
try to two-face her. That wrong thing.
Ooh, nice.
Damage.
As energy batters up against its face, you see it hit the skull and sort of not ricochet, but the head turns and the energy keeps moving. As it turns back to face you, and you can see a chunk of flesh and now bone, broken, bloody, sort of remain, sort of like it looks like within the sort of a ruined pit of an eye socket stares back at you, as it seems like the boiling and bubbling that hit its eyes is now gone, but it still takes a considerable amount of damage. And as the energy begins to spread through its head, I'm pretty sure you said you wanted to poison it.
Yeah, spell save 18.
All right. This time as it does so, you see the eye begin to sort of like, as it begins to reform, the flesh is sort of twisted and molded, as it begins to reach up and hold it in pain, as its head sort of sways to and fro, as it is no longer afraid of this invisible light, it no longer can see, but instead it is now sickened.
Yes, indeed. That is, once I hear the scrabble on the ground again, I look at the one snake that missed, and I'm also disappointed in it. God damn it, Cody.
Cut it off. Get a new one.
Cody. As that is it for me, as I ready my scepter to start beating this thing to death.
This creature coming back to, and you can see now this sort of rotten, broken eye slowly but surely starting to heal across its body. You can see it's starting to return to a better state, but still sickly looking. This creature, I can't, no. Begins to clatter across the wall above you guys, making it about here, before it makes it downward. Seems like it's crawling quite quickly. Going down, about 40 feet down, getting just above your heads, Luna and Gregory, before it starts crawling out the doorway.
Hell, back here!
As you guys can get opportunity attacks with melee attacks.
I will indeed. Strike out this thing, trying to cut into its arm to get it to fall off the L ceiling now.
Would I get opportunity attack with Warcaster?
Yeah, actually, you would.
Trip too, so you can thorn whip it.
I can.
Hey!
Which I do.
Best
Ooh.
combos.
Nice. So basically, it would be leaving your range here, here. Yeah, so it'd be leaving just Gregory's range because it's still climbing up on the ceiling, and it would leave Persephone. So yeah, Gregory's sword cuts into its side, giving that damage. 25, nice. 20, 40.
Stab into its body as it gets yanked away, as its sword just cuts even more as it gets pulled the other direction.
As you're pulling it towards yourself, Persephone?
Yes, I am.
Okay, just directly towards yourself?
Yes, but it's also the hurdy whip, so.
Okay. Takes, a terrible amount of damage. The whip wraps around its body and digs in. You can see the thorns bearing into the flesh and causing it to just basically bleed it, almost juicing it. As it takes a heavy amount of damage, and then, I'm gonna say, Luna, give me a dexterity saving throw.
Shit, Luna!
That's
Ooh.
Jaden.
Oh, we can use that roll, 15. What's
15
your-
plus 18.
Okay, so you're also next to Gregory too, so that's plus 6.
Plus 3.
What the fuck? What's my...
So 21. Your Christmas should be 16,
Yeah.
right?
Perfect.
21!
As with
There's
this
too many
sudden,
fucking games, man. I can't remember what my characters are.
as with this sudden pull, Luna, you realize that finally, like Gregory cut this thing, and Luna or Persephone managed to lasso it and yank it back, and then you realize, oh crap, he's pulling it directly towards herself, which is gonna basically take it off the ceiling and basically through you. So you step out the way quickly, as it does land prone in your space, but sort of sharing this thing as it hits the ground, unable to get up as it tries to use the rest of its movement, but finds itself unable to do so, as all it can do with the rest of that extra movement with its dash is stand back up. But pull itself here, I guess? For the sake of convenience and squares, we'll say it makes it about here. Otherwise, he'd be squished all between you guys, but...
Trying to scrabble away from us.
Scrambling up and seeing Jave in there, just trying to keep on the defensive, as it seems like its exit is now sort of cut off. As Persephone Reeling back your whip, you see this creature lands next to you and turns to you with a wicked, scowling, monstrous face.
Stephanie's gonna look right back at it and extend her hand, opening it. But as she does, a leaf is going to fly out as I'm going to produce flame at her.
Oh!
Okay,
Gonna be a disadvantage.
It will be at disadvantage because your attack, although it's quite powerful, you are trying to basically throw it. Throwing at it at point blank range, but still able to basically bolt this energy at it. It seems like if it were holding still, or if it had no way to move, you would have decimated this thing. But still, with this fire sort of surprising it, surrounded on all sides by enemies, you do connect with that 19. Ooh! As the fire batters into its body, you can see the clothing get burned and writhe away, as it seems like she is taking some considerable amount of damage. Still sickened and weakened, still standing before you.
End it, Gregory. Swiftly.
Got it.
That's my turn.
Okay, Gregory. Your blade's still coated in this thing's blood, now standing before you.
And they pulled off the ceiling, cut into it as I wheel around. It scrambles its way up, stands up, turns to Purse. Shit, Purse! As it explodes into flame. I hear Purse call out, and I'm already bringing down my blade. I'm on it! As I just try to bring it down to the back of her neck as she's pointing towards just trying to take her head off. Again, putting away my defenses, just trying to finish it with one clean.
Nice.
Ooh, 16?
16, as this creature is pretty quick on their feet. You know that as its last swing, you're sort of readying it for an extra moment. May not connect, but it seems like after Persephone battered it with fire and it still seems to be bleeding from not only your wound, but Persephone's, its footing is somewhat loosened and you connect with it.
Hey! Nice. As hopefully I just cut its head clean off its body.
As you swing that heavy sword, just swing across its shoulders, you see you aim, sort of scrape up against one, and as it turns to look at you, this powerful, swinging, almost like thunderous blow of your sword causes its head to go flying up in the air and spin, and just as quickly as the body falls and hits the ground, so too does its removed head.
Please find peace. Damn it. As I step over his body, trying to be as generous to it as possible as I make my way over this other one that's up on the ceiling, seeing that Quill and Samantha are about to just poke holes in that thing to death. So I just point my blade up to it. The hell is your master doing here? You know this ain't going to end well for him. His time is over. Find some redemption, please.
Gregory, roll me an intimidation check.
Hey. Not great at that. Not skilled in it, but still a big guy.
Oh.
Alrighty.
I'm just holding up my blade.
This creature, it's basically cut its head off next to you. It seems like Gregory also sliced the other one next to you. It seems like all your enemies are dying quite quickly. The only one that really seems to be accosted that's not currently being battered by Quill and Samantha is this one up on the wall. A little too high for Gregory to reach. What do you do?
Nick, that's you.
Sorry, say that one more time.
So basically, just describing the situation. You see there's a bunch of creatures being cut down by Gregory and your allies all around you. Seems like Quill and Samantha are currently finishing off one who's just barely alive. The last one that really seems to be posing some sort of threat, although it's still cowering and hiding its face, is this one clinging upside down to the ceiling just above Gregory up here. Although it seems like about 40 feet high, a little far outside of Gregory's sword range.
The fuck can this dragon monk do? He's gonna run next to Gregory after hearing Gregory trying to communicate with the creature and just hold his action. See if he gets any closer to punch flight out.
Okay, holding your action to basically strike it again. Comes to this creature's turn. You can see it's still holding its hand over its eyes, and at your words, Gregory pulls away, and you can see looking down again. Even though there's no remnant light left, except for just some of your magic now beginning to dissipate, its eyes are just burning as if it's staring into a hot, like, fire. They're drying up and sizzling as it looks down at you, or at least in your direction. He wants to cure us. Remove death. He has. We are clean. We are his. We. As it keeps trying to, like, reaching behind itself, clawing at the stone, looking for somewhere to go, but it seems like nowhere for this creature to move, and so it simply just sort of pulls itself in a close position, almost like an insect on the wall, ready to spring and jump at a moment's notice. As Luna. Seems like this one creature's left dead on the, almost dying on the ground. Quill and Samantha still holding their magic and swords over it, ready to end it. Last one seems to be this creature above on the wall on the ceiling.
Luna looks over to Gregory. Is that the answer you're waiting for, or?
Promises from a damn seed of evil. I don't know what the hell he promised. Just terminate these things.
So will firebolt that creature.
Ooh, as that will connect. As just bolt of fire comes flying at it. Again, this one's striking in the face. You can see a big patch of its hair get burned away immediately as it takes a heavy amount of damage. But as it does, it pulls its face back down, and you can see some of the flesh begin to regenerate, especially over its eyes, as now it looks down, not with fear and contempt, but now just ferocity and animosity.
Get ready, you two. That will be my turn.
Okay. As Quilt, you're standing over this creature, prone on the ground, unable to move, barely alive.
Just gonna pick up my sword, stab it right through its head, just whoosh.
As you take the sword and stab down into its head. As its body begins to twitch. And then it starts raising its head back up, as it seems like you just struck a deadly blow into this thing, and it should be dead now. And yet it's just barely alive.
I'm gonna swing at it again. As I just even the sword comes up, I'm just gonna flick the wrist as the sword just kind of turns and severs the spine.
As that last strike, now this thing broken, burnt, and basically torn apart, ribbons on the ground. It just eventually falls still, and it dies.
I'm gonna run over there and do some frontline fighting, waiting for this creature to come down.
Okay. Creature is dead. Samantha.
To the left of Gregory, and then bringing up my scepter. With a resigned sigh, just conjuring forth 2 green bolts, and then just giving a twist as they start to crackle with wretched, poisonous energy. As I try to slam them home, just 2 shots straight to the chest.
Okay. Give me them shots. Ooh. That first one, not really sure how the energy is blasting out. This creature, now with its senses regained, immediately starts pulling itself. It seems like almost down the wall as the energy blasts off against it. But as the rubble starts to fall and batter against its head, it stops to see what's attacking it, and then eventually, poof, the second strike hits it firm in the chest. That will connect. Ooh, doing a good amount of damage. And as it actually hits, the energy pulses throughout its body. Seems like it's got to try and withstand. Ooh, and it does not, as though it is very tough, full of vitality. This energy still courses through its veins. You can see these black lines running along and they turn green before they fade, as this creature is now sickened.
I just sort of now seeing Quill in position, seeing Gregory in position, seeing that we have control over the situation, Samantha almost takes on a sort of Macbeth-esque pose as she just sort of looks over the skull, almost just discontent or content with the results of this trap that she unfortunately sprung.
Eat it like an apple.
Do not eat it like an apple. Get out of here. That's
Consume.
Oh, okay. Okay, got it. Eat it like an onion. Got it.
Is that your turn?
Yeah, that's it for me, baby.
Nice.
Give me a skull.
Creature is dead. Persephone, this creature now back and awake, its senses focused on you guys, but now sort of wavering in its sort of insect-like hold on the wall, unable to proceed any further yet. You have the initiative. What do you do?
Persephone is going to climb up onto this casket because all the tall people are in front of her, so that she can get a better vantage point on this creature up on the wall like a terrified cat on a shelf. I can't imagine what you've been through for you to think this is a cure. But hopefully we can end it quickly. I'm going to ready a Thorn Whip. When that thing gets in range, I'm going to lash out.
All right. Readying your spell to strike out once it gets within range. Okay. Gregory. You see Quill positioning himself down below this thing. You see Samantha blast it with magic that seems to have a lasting effect. Davin's at your side, fists ready. And Persephone, it sounds like she, after her speech, magic begins to course around her hand, her vine coiling or fire coiling. Either one. What do you do?
This thing is scaling up this wall. Is its fingers digging into the stone itself, or is it like scrambling up the wall to the point where it looks like maybe a big strong boy could also maybe scale that?
It looks like as you're looking at this thing, it's not simply like holding on to handholds. It looks like these sharp claws and these sharp nails on its feet are basically pikening itself into the stonework. Again, with that considerable strength that can even reach through your and Quill's armor, it's using that to basically clamber itself up the wall.
Alright. Not thinking that I can follow after it. Yeah, I'm just going to. Not much recourse. Seeing my allies behind me and seeing Quill sort of stationing himself there, I know this thing is fast, but I can't fucking get to it right now. So I'm just going to just take one step back, bring my sword back behind me, defensive stance. Come on. You ain't making it out of here. Well, let's try. Let's do this. As I just prepare to attack this creature if it comes out at me. Keeping up my defenses against, or to protect Javen and Samantha by my sides. That's me.
Okay. As Javen, you're still waiting for your moment for to strike this thing, and it seems like this creature hasn't approached you yet. It seems like only through a blast of Luna's magic has it regained the senses and the will to do so. What do you do?
I just realized we're level 9, so Jaden's
I've been thinking
gonna
about that the whole
take
time.
a bit of a running start on the ground before running towards the wall, running up the wall, and grabbing her.
Okay. Javen starts running. You see his feet patter against the stonework, patter up the wall. Surprisingly, it seems like he's just running straight up it as you're going to try and grab it. Give me an athletics check.
Her. Is there any, I feel like he should have like some sort of bonus to that. I feel like that's what he had.
Data athletics.
Athletics.
Ooh.
Ooh. As this creature sees you coming up towards it, it starts to try to defend itself, but again, it starts coughing and hacking as it's going to have some disadvantage.
Hey.
Ooh, and it seems like although you are quite quick, maybe one of the first times you've actually done this, scaled a vertical wall, this creature has enough footing that you quite lack at this moment for it to pull itself away at the last second. As one of your attacks is wasted, trying to grasp at it.
Is it possible that before I fall, I try to wrap my tail around her and do it again?
You can use your hand, but sure.
Yeah. Need a free hand.
Seems like as long as you have this momentum continually moving on your turn, you can run along this wall. Ooh, let's see. As your hand swings out against it one more time, let's see. Ooh, as this creature now realizing that one of its enemies can reach its very high vantage point, it immediately crawls away at the last second as your hand swings. As Javen, if there's anything else you want to do, you're going to start tumbling down the wall.
No, but as he does that, he will. It's like 40 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not really, but as he does fall, he will use reaction to slowly, drunkenly fall into the ground.
Sure.
With-
Slowly fall and stumble and sort of roll as you hit the ground, as I don't think a 4d6 can match 5 times your monk level. So as you land and gently hit the ground, on a beta save out, yeah.
I don't think it's 5. I think it's just plus your level.
No, it's 5 times your level.
Oh, I'm thinking of catching arrow.
Mm-hmm. Anything else you want to do, Jacob? Okay. As this creature, having just avoided both those attacks, you see it looks around on these creatures. All of you. You won't make it out of here. Just accept the cure. Just accept it. You'll never feel death. You'll never feel anything. As you see these claws release from the wall as it just falls It begins to descend down farther, farther. Every once in a while, catching on the wall, sort of slow its fall for a moment, reaching you guys your distance as it gets within 5 feet of you, Quill.
Smack it!
Ooh,
No advantage.
normal shot, right?
Yep.
Oh, that will connect as your sword cuts up against its body. As it loses its movement and eventually falls, and again, like the last one, hits the ground, one of its fingers being sliced open as it takes a heavy amount of damage.
Actually, I'm pretty sure its movement should like completely stop, so it just stops midair.
It just hovers, just
Yeah, if you move
like
it,
an immovable rod. It just sits there
Right.
for all eternity.
Would my health spell still go off?
Sure,
Yeah.
if you're within range.
Yeah.
Ooh, is that you're on top of the coffin. You have enough room between it and you. Yeah, that would connect as this goes right between over your ally's shoulder. Between looks like where Quill and Javen's standing. This thing has enough height on it that you could actually connect with it.
Ha.
3-person combat.
As you do 12 damage, and how far do you want to pull this thing?
I'm just gonna pull it 5 feet closer.
Okay, let's see. As you rank this thing, you see it rip it off the wall. One of its, basically the remnants of its fingers still stuck. As it's saying 5 feet in the air, but still in front of you, Gregory, flies right into range.
As I just bring the sword around down onto its back as I just try to cut this thing in half. Ah, damn it. Ah! With all my might. Oh no!
Ooh.
Oh,
And as you pull this thing closer towards you, Persephone, it flies quite quickly, and Greg, you swing your sword just trying to cut it, but its body is sort of pulled and twisted by the angle at which it's been wrapped by this thorn whip, pulls it just out of the way, and the sword woof, into the air. But
Full attack
As it,
on him?
yeah, as it hits
Yep.
the ground and I slice through its clothing and scars across the ground, I just turn the blade around and just bring it right up underneath its chin to try to take its head off again. And once again, cutting one more time. There we go, a 19.
ooh, and that will connect.
Trying to catch it up underneath the chin.
Ooh, how do you want to kill it?
As the blade just skitters across the ground, up in front of its face. As I turn the blade, just on the ground, bringing it upwards, catching it right there, and just slicing backwards as I take it.
As the body comes clattering finally to the ground. As this is all happening while this thing is flying through the air at you. One swing moving through the air, the other one slicing off its head, the body bounces off the ground, the head hits the other side. And with that, heavy breathing now, sort of calm in the air, except for the soft sound of liquid pouring out of these broken and twisted bodies. Seems like finally, battle has come to an end.
All of that for this. As I take a second look at the skull in my hand.
Well, looking it over, you looking over its details, or you just looking at it?
I'm looking over its details, mostly looking like inside the. Cause I spend a lot of time looking at the actual skull.
Give me an investigation check.
No problem.
Persephone. Well done.
Mm,
Great
That was-
stretch.
thank you.
Now that you
Chaos
actually have this thing in your hand, it's a little heavy for what you'd expect a skull to be. It's probably not your first skull creature you've ever held. You held one that was a large beast before, but that's the person's. As you look this thing over, you realize that it's not actually made of bone. It's almost like some sort of soft stone. And as you look underneath, where it looks like the spinal cord would go into the into the spinal cord, where the vertebrae would connect, you can see the inside. It's actually like a mechanism. Now that you're looking over this whole thing, it looks like it's not a natural skull. If anything, it's a device made to look like one, if only aesthetically. Something meant to fit inside and help twist and turn pythons and spikes.
I wager this is supposed to go somewhere else, perhaps? I don't think I saw anything else open up besides those horrible creatures. Samantha tries to recall with her sort of kind of all-around vision if anything sort of adjusted or changed in this room besides the monsters springing up when she removed the skull.
Not in particular. Nothing that you really noticed. It just seemed like once that thing released, there was a sound, and then the things within these coffins, the broken ones at least, seemed to stir.
Were you saying that out loud?
Yeah, I was just thinking out loud.
Chair's so uncomfortable.
Did you swap
As I
it?
hear Samantha start to muse, I'm just sort of closing my eyes and just trying to let the heat of the moment wash over me a little bit. As I hear her talking, I turn and see the spike popping up out where the skull came from. Yeah, there was another one of these damn spikes just out that way. That statue thing out there. Thought it looked weird.
She raises an eyebrow at you. Did it have a skull on it? I didn't see one.
Nah, but it had one of them. I mean, that spike. That's what it looked like.
Ah, perfect. Well then, she sort of gives a crack to her neck and slots her scepter away again, holding the skull. Well, let's just press on then.
Persephone's gonna.
Yes, let's. Ugh.
As everything quiets down, Persephone's gonna walk around pedestal. She's gonna give a smile and a nod at Quill, acknowledging his praise, and then put a hand on Gregory's arm. You did good too. How are you feeling?
I don't know yet. I ain't alive. That's a damn show. I don't know if that's better or not. Puts my mind at ease, but hell, Purse, that means there ain't no saving these folk. And that girl out there in that cell, I don't know if she's savable or not. Fuck.
We won't really know until we take care of the doctor. Maybe it will be like Stroma all over again. Kill the source and everything connected to it will go away. Just like the Grey Bite. That's what's keeping me going. I know it
hope so,
sucks,
Purse.
but that's all we've got.
I get you. Let's do this then.
As I'm walking past Luna, and I'm just gonna look over at Luna as a bit of blood actually trickles out from my eye. As I put my hand up to it and I touch it, and I look at her, and I just flick it away and continue walking.
Was that from your eye or from your scalp?
No, from my eye.
That's weird.
Well, it's to give a little representation that my hit points are no longer maxed. Because I can't get a max because she fucking bit me.
Okay, I like that. Not weird
I thought you
anymore.
were crying blood, but all right, yes.
No.
Okay.
No, that's not weird anymore to me. I like that.
Certainly seemed like you were crying blood, but
Okay. What do the rest of you do? And Javen coming down from the wall, realizing that these creatures are all dead now, and looks like Luna and Gregory, you still hanging out in the room, while the rest of everyone's starting to descend down the staircase.
No, I'm heading out. Just I held up for a second as Purse was talking to me, but I was making my way towards the door.
did we check those doors? We went straight up the stairs, didn't we? Yes.
Yes.
Gregory and I were a little further back. By the time we got there, you all were already opening the doors above the stairs.
Almost forgot my giant glowing sword.
And don't forget your giant glowing sword.
Kinda need that, buddy.
So I'm sort of looking over this spike and comparing it to the skull, and then trying to find where it slots into place.
Sure. You take this skull, sort of lay it over, you feel it sort of stop at the first part of this, basically like thorn spike, and then you sort of twist it, sort of manipulate it like you did before, almost reverse engineering it, finding a spot where it goes down, doing it again, twisting, finding till where it lines up, and then you finally bring it down to the middle, and you boom, sound a mechanical piece shifting in place all around you from the stonework, but it seems to be emanating over from the east side.
I like it. I have to remember this mechanism. So,
To the east.
I think so. I'm hoping what it is we're here for, the
Symbol of Sune?
but Samantha sort of reaches back and gestures for Gregory. Better safe than sorry, as she points towards the space next to Quill.
Yep.
Oh goddamn, you are leaned way back.
Oh, the adventure!
He took Javen's advice. He's just going with the
going with it,
alcohol.
yeah.
Going with it.
All right. Together, Timberson.
Let's do this.
I'm gonna open the doors.
Watch each hand.
Shimmering
watching your
armor.
turn. You sort of push the doors open. They seem to open up into this large room, which immediately hits you, I'd say, a little far away. Persephone and I guess Quill, you're decent at hearing things with your elven ears. The first thing you hear is the sound, almost like the movement of water. As the light from Gregory's sword begins to emanate and fill this room, you can see it looks like a similarly sized room as you were just in, although now square in shape. The ground is again still this broken cobblestone. It looks like this dark material. You can sort of see it through this thin layer of black fog hanging around your ankles. But in front of you is another one of these altars. Standing before this large... I mean, it's hard to say it other than a fountain. It's of immense size, but even with just the edge of Gregory's light touching it, granting it color to your dark vision, you realize that the dark liquid sort of pouring from the eyes and from the nose of what looks like this massive skull in the middle is red. It is dark. It is sanguine. It looks like you find yourself a large altar of blood. Aha.
What in the hell? I tentatively start to walk into the room with my sword lighting up. What in the fucking hell is this?
You get closer, Gregory, you can see on this large altar, sort of splayed out, amidst the spattering of what looks like equally dark red material, you see a book splayed out in front of you.
I just pass by the book, saying Samantha coming up behind me with that gleam in her eyes, as I'm just trying to take a position on the other side, watching this everything with a... Trying to make sure our sides are covered here. Samantha, what the hell? Lona?
What does the book say?
You're just trying to look it over, leaning over to look at this large textbook. It's kind of strange. You can see some of the pages have been marred with, it looks like blood stains, but you can... What languages do you guys speak?
A lot.
A lot. As it seems like, if anyone can read... What is it? Oh, nice. If anyone can read Abyssal, you can actually read the words in this book.
Y'all bringing out them sexy exotic languages.
I'm not quite
no, Jordan
understanding what's
sound
in here. Does that also mean the stream sound broke?
Uh-oh. I know you can speak some... Okay, so it seems like poor Samantha can't talk. She's just caught up. She's choking on her words, looking at this book. An old language he thought she'd never be able to hear. Oh, he can't even hear? Oh, no.
Oh no, his sound is just busted. That's fine. Persephone's gonna actually take a look at the table itself, trying to... It looks like this is like some sort of ritualistic location that she's read of in some stories, so she wants to see if the table kind of reflects that, if it's got any etchings and clues as to what may go on here.
Sure, give me an investigation check, as you do see some markings on here, but looks like wear and tear has kind of, maybe through time or just use, has sort of worn some of the symbols on it away.
I'm throwing my inspiration at this.
Sure.
God damn it!
Yeah, again, you can make out large circles, and it looks like the shapes of eyes and hands along this thing, and it looks like between each of these circles, sort of like overlap between each other, are numbers of lines, almost like irrigation crops of sorts, if you ever looked at maps, but it looks like they're not really talking about crops. Almost looks like divots for some sort of liquid to spill through. Really hard to make out what's on there. You guys are looking around, Gregory, moving a little further, and Javen sort of peeking around the corner. You can see it looks like along this wall, there's a small like opening on either side of this fountain, and inside is this small little landing, about a foot or two off the ground. And inside you can see sort of like almost somewhat filling these large crystalline glass tanks about 6 feet high that looks like a small puddle of blood that every once in a while sort of bubbles.
Oh, there's like big old glass containers. Is this all fucking blood? What the hell? Somebody please tell me what the
Technique to help. Shade of red.
Definitely seems to be, although yours is a bit brighter in your hand. Now that you're looking at this blood a bit closer, with Gregory's light sort of shining down harder to it, you notice it's considerably darker, as if this
Oh wait, our sound isn't even going to stream.
Uh-oh. Ruh-roh.
It was.
Bum, bum, bum.
Oh, I can hear it in my stream.
It's
Okay,
fine.
we can hear it through stream. Okay. I saw chat asking about
spooky, spooky sound problems, everyone. Ooh, there's a ghost in our mainframe. Our server has been haunted. Ooh.
Ooh. My God, it's fucking adorable. I love it when they dress toddlers up as skunks for Halloween. It's fucking adorable.
Yeah. Do you want to guys pause for a little bit as we try to figure out sound problems, or do you want to keep going?
Yeah.
Sure.
Hello?
Hi,
Hey,
Jordan.
I hear Jordan. Hey, I can hear us.
Haunted. You were haunted.
Getting fixed.
Heck yeah.
Okay,
Wow,
there we
Purse.
go.
What a great investigation.
Sorry
there.
about that, everybody. Testing.
Good stuff.
I've got sound on stream.
All right, that's right. They
Fucking
can
hell.
hear us.
That's
That,
Samantha.
my fucking microphone exploded. Yeah, I speak every evil language in the game. What's up?
As you're looking at this book, again, marred by bloodstains, you do notice that this thing is written in language you can understand. Strangely found in this place. Most people write Elvish, write Elvish, Common, Dwarvish. The typical languages. And although it makes a bit of sense why such things would be found here, you notice that this language is written in the abyssal tongue. Sort of these long, drawn-out, twisted, almost looks like someone took blood and a knife and sort of carved these long, thin, and almost chaotic-looking scribblings in this book. But to someone else, they look like madness. But to you, there is something to comprehend within them.
And it is still the language affiliated with demons, right?
For the most part.
This is written in the language of the abyss. It looks like chaotic ramblings, but... And she just sort of reaches over and pulls the book a bit closer to her. Just I try to make sense of what it is I'm actually looking at.
Sure. Give me a straight-up int roll as you're looking at this thing.
Roll.
Mhm.
We're probably not going to fight the boss today. Inspiration!
Please be better than mine.
Sure. As you're looking at this thing, something is interesting about the abyssal language, Samantha, in that although perhaps creatures who have been born and melded by this thing are quite easily able to discern these scribblings, most humanoids, even those native tongue of abyssal, take a bit extra time to discern this stuff because, while abyssal can be easily understood by being spoken and picking up on the strange nuances within chaotic babbling, the written form takes a bit of deciphering. As fortunately, though, with your considerably high roll, you're able to read this thing at a relatively well paced. It's almost like trying to cast comprehend languages. You're looking over the pages, trying to see these strange scribblings and trying to understand the guttural utterances that are inside. But then once you put them together and take a moment to think about them, they begin to make sense. As it seems like, at least the page it's open to, the page it's speaking of, speaks of something not of a ritual, but more of a procedure in the strange, almost clinical way it's written in chaotic language. Speaks of the transference of blood, the transference of life, taking the essence of one creature and poisoning another with it, using it to instill them with your own sort of, I suppose you could say, life venom. It speaks of taking your own evil, your own desires, your own twisted darkness, and giving it to someone else, whether willing or unwilling. And the methods he's studying now seem to be sort of this, looks like in the most physical way, you can call it like an irrigation. To take blood or something similar to it and run it through another creature's body, flushing out their own vitality and replacing it with his own. Almost like replacing someone's blood.
It's a strange procedure. It's strangely organized for something so chaotic. But I think this is, as he looks to Gregory, a sort of recipe for how it is he's created those things we've been putting to rest. As she sort of turns through the pages, does it seem like this is a thick book, or like it's just about this ritual?
It's a pretty thick book. There's lots of other pages, but again, it takes some time to actually decipher basically what each one they're talking about. But it seems like while some of the pages have been also stained with blood, a little harder to read. It seems there are others sort of similar, and some of the passages actually continue on as you continue to read with that relatively high intelligence check. You can see other passages mentioning the time it takes. It seems like this thing, while it begins to take hold once the body has been filled with this poisonous blood, it does not truly change them until perhaps years, maybe decades pass, unless something else has intervened. If perhaps magic is used to speed up the process. Otherwise, those afflicted will carry it with them for some time, will carry that curse, but won't truly be lost until time has given up on them.
Yeah, Samantha sort of runs that through a layman's filter, trying to explain it in a way that everyone in the room can understand, before looking towards the front of the book to see if it has like a title or an author, that sort of thing, just coincidentally.
You open up the title of the book, and it's laying on the table in front of you. It feels like just a leather-bound book until you look and you can see there's no title. There's just a big pair of lips, like a smile drawn from one corner of it up to the middle of the side, basically from one corner on the bottom up to the middle of the top. And you can see between them are these very small, multiple, too many to really fit into a normal mouth, small, sharp teeth.
This is a lot. But I do believe this is how the doctor has been curing people following the procedures in this. As Samantha takes her bag off of herself and pulls out some rope, and begins fastening this book shut.
Wait a minute. Before you do that, is there like a cure in this?
It's a procedure that seemed to have been going on for years, but as Samantha just flips back to where she was in the thing and then tries to get towards maybe the end is where she thinks, for reversing this procedure, just go ahead and crack 2 eggs and spit at the moon, and there you go.
Sure. As you're reading through the pages, as you're going, sort of flipping through them and quite quickly deciphering the chaotic and sort of, from a first glance, nonsense, you realize there's really nothing talking about the reversal of this. Although, give me another int check, as you are trying to reverse engineer this. The idea of if there's something written here how to cure this, maybe you could use what you have learned and try to reverse engineer it. Sort of like you can learn how to put something together by taking it apart, only in the reverse.
As you see, like her face sort of scrunch up in concentration as she's scanning through the pages. You can see her snakes, which were looking around the room, keeping an eye on the doors behind her. More and more of them just begin to look down at the book, as it seems like this is taking every ounce of concentration she has to try to figure this out. Oh, fuck yeah,
Ooh.
Chaos Gods, I love you. Oh, make me
As
smart.
you're looking through this thing, I mean, it seems kind of hopeless. I mean, you're effectively, it's not just like a weird magic change. You're
Fucking hell.
literally taking the blood out of someone and replacing it with something else. And, it seems to have an effect on them. But then you go back to that passage, that strange mentioning of time losing hope. That idea that eventually, perhaps this thing becomes corrupted. It's like poison. The longer it stays in your system, the worse and worse it becomes. But it implies that there is a worse state. It implies that there is a finality to it that this passage doesn't really detail what that means, what happened. Seems that perhaps if a creature fails to reach this final state, whatever that may be, well, maybe there is a chance, whatever that chance might be. And then you recall something with your incredibly high intelligence check, something that Starholder actually had mentioned. This is an off phrase that perhaps was maybe clerical speak flowered by his words of light, but now kind of connect. You remember him saying that these creatures do not truly die unless they are beheaded or staked through the heart, and that they are quite resilient. And that specifically, they have not been truly lost as the Doctor. The Doctor, he described him as hollow, emptied, completely corrupted. But these, seems like maybe some of these creatures, if given hope, given faith, maybe they might be able to be spared. How you do that? No idea.
Samantha sort of comes to this conclusion, kind of looking through, and she's able to piece together that through the process is how you end up with these things we've been fighting, not the people on the surface, just these horrible bloodthirsty monsters. And she pieces together this from this abyssal text. And you see her face scrunched up in concentration.
What have you learned?
You see her grimace. This is magic most foul. Truly, truly most foul. There is, as she looks over at Gregory, there was never any hope for them.
Well, he uses this thing to turn those people. Can we destroy it or something? What are we doing?
The only thing we can do is put a stop to him. These creatures that have been infused with his malice, that's what this ritual does. It takes what he is and courses it through them. But once that happens, she looks back at the book and looks back at Gregory, and now her snakes dispersing their attention throughout the room, looking at everyone. There is just no saving them.
No. But there's a way to stop him from making any more.
Yeah. Fuck.
As you say
Once we
that,
finish this, we should tell the mayor to destroy this clock tower and any entrance to this place.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll see if I can reverse engineer more from this and try to break apart the things that are necessary once we've defeated the Doctor. You'll need to face justice for this. This is truly cruel.
as you say that, Samantha, as you're taking the book and bundling up, all of you in this room, resounding off the walls, hear a voice.
Cruel? Is that what you call it? I offer mercy.
I offer endless life to those who have taken, those often undeserving. No, they're all deserving. As Luna, you're sort of looking around trying to discern where the sound's coming from, and you end up looking up and realizing this ceiling in this room is a lot higher than any other room in the entirety of this dungeon you've been in so far. And though everyone's eyes sort of take themselves around the light of Gregory's sword carries so far, your eyes, able to see further into the darkness, see a shape. Feet stuck to the ceiling until it lets go, and almost silently descending down with a soft tack as feet land on this large stone-like bone. You see for the first time in many years, no longer obscured by the illusions of dreams or perhaps the worst parts of your imagination, a man in dapper clothing and long flowing black hair, pale skin, and red eyes, is landing on top of this skull. You see the doctor himself, Eric Gelner.
You've envenomed this town, poisoned it with your magic, and this. And Samantha just pushes against the book. There is but one punishment for this. As Samantha reaches down for her scepter.
Can I study his face? Is he connecting Luna at all?
He seems to just be looking over the whole group. His eyes do linger over Luna for a moment, but he doesn't seem to be putting much focus into her right now. He's looking at the rest of you guys. It seems to be, again, strangely enough, despite his situation, his face almost slate-like, calm, his eyes soft. There's no intensity in his gaze. There's no hatred or malice or animosity. He just looks like a very calm man. As he sort of steps down a little lower between the eyes of this thing, you can hear his very fancy shoes sort of tack against the bone as he steps over this large hole, getting about 10 feet off the ground. Looking down at the blood flowing beneath him, it looks back up to you guys. Justice. What justice would I face here? I have seen countless years pass. I have allowed everything in this town to happen. People here see no trouble in my actions, so I have erased it. People see no sin in my procedures, because I've erased it. They are happy, if but haunted. But rather than try, as many have before, and bring my end, why not take part in this revelry? I can see in the expressions of all of you, you've suffered loss. You've suffered pain. Loved ones have died. And you will lose more and more. You will lose each other. But with my gift, my cure, I can take all of that away. I can take all of your pain away.
And turn us into mindless beasts filled with hunger? How long have you been doing this?
As his eyes turn to you, Luna. You bear a familiar sin. As he steps down onto the ledge of this fountain, as he looks you over, Luna, and his eyes slowly but surely begin to widen, and this blank face he once held begins to break ever so slightly. My moonlight.
Don't call me that.
I thought you were dead. I thought you'd burned away with your own gift. Here you are. You've come back. Is that why you came here? Is that why you broke into my laboratory? I thought you meant to slay me. No, you're here. You're here to reconnect. Luna, I never meant to cause you harm, and I hold no resentment for what you did. You must understand, I do not hate you. You're still my moonlight. You're still my daughter. Come, let's just erase the past. Trace a new future together. As he sort of extends his hand out to you, as his eyes very carefully let out the sort of soft red light. As Luna, I'ma need a wisdom save.
You can just fucking feel the fucking energy radiating off of Gregory. His body is just fucking vibrating. You can see blood just like pouring down the side of his neck. Just as you can just feel that fucking anger raining on your body, giving you a little bit of a maybe something else in your mind, maybe distracting you just a little bit.
I used this DM inspiration that I got for I don't know how long ago.
Roleplay.
Paracelsus
Last
was
session.
alive?
Oh God,
Yeah.
that was from last session.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. As you feel in your mind for a moment, the sort of familiar sensation as the world around you begins to waver ever so slightly, and you can see you're no longer standing in this this desecrated room filled with skulls and blood, and this man who you come to learn is nothing more than a monster. And instead, you find yourself for just a moment standing in this grand room again, a large like a feast hall, at the end of which is this large throne at which you stand. You see parties of people enjoying themselves, revelry once more, and standing in front of you as you're looking over them, turning to your side, is that man, long black hair, flowing gown, and you begin to remember. He always talked about that place, a castle he would make just for you one day, a castle that only existed basically in your mind and his. But soon he promised it would come to life one day. But you know that's fake. You know after everything you've seen, and especially with Gregory's reaction, how much this place has been hurting him to be in, that there's never a castle. There was never anything grand and luxurious between you and this man, and that spell that he seemed to hold over you for so many years just shatters, and you are not taken by him.
You never loved me. You loved what I could do. You loved what you could not do. What do you want from me?
I just want my daughter back. Someone who shares the same shadow. You do have something I don't, Luna. I've seen you play in that sunlight, waltz in it, enjoy your life. A shadow who enjoys the sun. Something I would never know. Something that those I cure would never know. But with you, with that precious blood of yours, I'm close to something. Those cured would not have to hide in darkness. They would not burn in light. They would walk among you. They would live forever, free of pain. But if you're not here to join me, why did you return?
Tommy, before we end you and all this, who am I related to here? Are my parents here?
In that moment, Luna, you could see that calm expression sort of widen to a shock, drops for a moment. And his brow, just for a second, seems to furrow. Your parents. You're still looking for your parents. Why? It's been years, Luna. They left you. They don't want you. They abandoned you. Why do you keep searching for them? I have tried. I have tried to erase them time and time again. I saw the pain it caused you. I saw what their memory, what thoughts, the memories you shared with them, the joy you felt, broken and torn into shards that bleed you when you bring back those painful memories. It's why I got rid of them. It's why they're gone. Perhaps I'll have to try again. Step forward.
Take one more fucking step. A father like you.
as he seems to ignore you.
Monsters. As I just screech and I just try to jump on him.
All right, as everybody, roll me a little bit of initiative.
Snap.
Oh, bathroom break initiative right there.
Yep.
Oh, balls, that doesn't make any sense.
Oh, Gregory. Well, you had DM inspiration.
I do, but
Ooh, guys.
Yeah,
And
I
so,
was-
Mr. Persephone.
I was thinking about using it. If Omen will let me use it, I'll totally use it.
Sure.
Alright.
Because he rolls it in
Come on, Greg. There you go.
Hey!
I gotcha. Still waiting on Persephone.
Mel, that's you.
Yeah, I know. My internet just completely died on me. I panicked.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Let me see if it lets me roll.
Yeah,
Hey.
I think everything's working.
You
Yeah,
got
that's
it.
a good roll. I think Katie rolls so bad in initiative because Percy usually rolls so well.
Oh my God, initiative. I'm so sorry. It's still having issues.
That's okay.
Yep.
I'm seeing all you're typing.
Yeah.
Just gonna thorn whip him to grapple him.
Okay. As Persephone, acting quite quickly, seeing this dangerous man approach, immediately her hand gets entwined with this vine, the plant arm becoming covered in leaves and other foliage before it whips out suddenly, trying to latch onto this man and keep him from moving. Once you want to load.
Come on.
Ah.
Oh,
Ooh.
nice.
Ooh, as he's walking towards him, you see this whip go flying in his direction, and as it does, you see Eric look at it, and his hand begins to raise, as you see his fingers begin to curl as well, as energy begins to course up along his hand. This, as you notice, it's Luna, this sort of darkness that seems familiar to you. And just as he does, this dapper suit he's wearing seems to become enshrouded in this blackness that hangs off of him like a big coat, as that attack will have disadvantage.
Ooh. Okay.
Roll that 20 now. Roll that
One more
20.
time.
One more time.
Hey!
Ooh. As that will still connect, you can see as this energy wraps up his arm, you can see the vine still managed to zoom around his entire body and wrap around him, holding him in place.
He said, "Don't take another step." And that's all I can do.
I'm so glad that Luna's
Gotta
next.
hold on to him.
Okay. As his man starts to pull against the vine, he looks over at you. Girl, herbalist, is this truly what you want? Cause harm, kill me. I assure you, it will not work.
We do what we must.
As Luna, you can see as this man is now shrouded in almost like a coat made of dark shadow that wavers around his body. It looks oddly familiar. In fact, uncannily familiar. It looks like the same kind of magic that you use. The same sort of armor that surrounds his body that you use to deflect a blow that gets a little too close to you. What do you do?
I will hop up on this table, stepping on the book because I don't care about the book right now. Sorry, Samantha. But let me get into Eric's face as I see Gregory about to lunge at him. I just have one question. Are they here?
Oh, Luna. They've never come back for you.
Is he lying?
Hard to say. His face is pretty damn earnest, but it seems like as he looks at Luna, even with your vines wrapping around him and this shadowy armor preventing him from moving, he doesn't look at her with contempt or anger. He just looks sort of... It's like a parent looking disappointedly at a child, an expression you know very well, Persephone. What do you want to do, Luna?
Nothing. I'll just stare at him in contempt. So it'll be my turn.
Okay, Javen.
Oh, fuck. What would
That's you.
Javen
That's
do?
you, Nick.
Also you!
No, Nick.
What would
This will
Javen
happen to
do?
me on Tuesday.
Punch him. Kick him.
Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep.
Take off his paint.
Nope.
As
Probably
I
not
feel
that
like
one.
Javen would feel like he would have like some information, so you just gotta put him to sleep, not right out, like kill him.
Sure.
I will put him to sleep.
Alright, give me an attack with disadvantage.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Ooh,
Hey.
that will still connect. You see the armor, this massive shadow rise up like a collar to try and stop it, and the fist hits it and breaks through and still strikes him true. 6 damage. Poof. Came across the face. You can see his head turn and immediately like it recoil in pain. But Javen, it feels like you're punching a statue. This man is quite hardy.
Yeah, so we'll do it 2 more times.
Okay. The second strike, poof, strike into his side. Second strike, poof, into the other side. Seems like the first one strikes through his armor, but doesn't quite make it through as the second one comes swinging in, and then it just seems to hit the armor and stop, unable to break through, as those attacks will not connect.
Stunning strike?
Nope. Javen never studies.
Oh. I should have done it with the first attack, but I
I
didn't.
see.
So
I think that's
I'll
what
just-
you meant when putting him to sleep.
Oh, that wasn't what I meant.
Oh, okay. Good deal.
The old-fashioned style of knocking someone unconscious, not beating them to a concussion.
Yeah, that's his turn.
Okay. Anything else you want to do?
No, it's a turn.
All right. As Gregory's scrambling up on this table, it seems like this creature, now wrapped in shadow, seems to be entwined in Persephone's vines, and you see one good punch manage to break in through his armor and strike him across the face. But he still seems to be standing almost unfazed.
Yes, I'm just trying to hold on to myself the best way I can as he starts to approach Luna, and Luna starts to approach him. I call out not to fucking move one more step, as it seems like something's about to happen, so I just pick up my fucking blade in one hand. Oh, damn it! That was not fucking... As I just lurch out at him, just trying to grab onto his shoulder. As, yeah, the rage has overtaken me.
You're raging?
Going into a rage.
Give me a
with
wisdom
this
save.
man in front of me, with everything he's saying. Yeah, I can't hold it back anymore.
Ooh. As you're doing so, Gregory, this time not being forced into this anger state, but this time pulling upon it yourself, you can hear deep within you, almost like within the back of your mind, in that pit of fiery hate and anger you have inside your gut that sometimes comes out for the sake of justice, sometimes just comes out for straight up anger. You can hear this deep and lulling sound. But your focus is on this man just trying to stop whatever he's doing. You're able to keep yourself under control.
As I try to grab onto his shoulder to grapple him.
Sure. As your hand reaches out and catches onto him, you see if he's gonna try and get out. Ooh, as you see he does, you see the hands going out to reach him, and you see that you catch onto some of his body, but then you pull away, and it seems like some of that weird, fiery, shadowy armor goes off in your hand, and you only grab onto that. But it seems like he's already hard to, strangely enough, despite being wrapped up in a vine, still quite nimble.
As my hand just whiffs through this strange shadow. Oh, fucking damn it! As I go and try to grab onto his neck and...
Sure.
Choke him.
Fuck.
Mm-hmm.
There
Ooh,
we
but this
go.
time, as you get through the armor, this collar seems to open up as the armor tries to replace itself, and your hand latches onto his neck.
As I just yank him away from Luna, just pulling him by the neck and just slamming him up against the side of this strange bone stone structure thing, and just lift him up in the air ever so slightly. You son of a bitch.
Sure. Persephone, are you still grappling? Actually, yeah. Are you still grappling him as he's basically pulling against this vine that's attached to him?
Nah, Gregory's got him.
As he gets released, this time changing hands as you have him, Gregory, and up against the wall. You see him like kind of choke from it as he hits this hard stonework.
You're no fucking father. Using your kids. You son of a bitch. As I just hold him there with my blade in one hand, as that pale moonlight just ever so slightly glowing more deep on my blade. Well, that's my
Nice.
pinning him up against the wall.
He's just looking down at you. Greg, you're trying to say something, but he ends up just sort of catching his words as he looks over to the rest of the group. As Quill. Where you at, Quill? There you are.
I'm gonna run up.
Jumping into the water, the blood splashing
Do I
into
have
you
to
and
throw
this
him in,
man.
or can I be like on this ledge?
You can sort of stand on the ledge. Yeah, if you want to stand up on the ledge like he was.
Yeah, I don't want to be covered in blood. I'm gonna take the flat side of my sword and hit him.
Sure. Disadvantage,
Good.
as this guy seems to be. Oh!
This way! Oh my way! This way! As my sword, I'm just gonna rake it across my shield. The sparks begin to shine as a little fighting spirit.
Nice.
As I'm gonna just swing out with the blunt side, try to do non-lethal damage and not cut him.
Nice. As you swing out with your sword, just trying to get through his defenses, the shadow armor raises up and stops the first blow, but then you turn around and slice again, and this time the blade actually finds some purchase. As you cut across his basically his chest, going through his clothing, which actually not, you know, it just seems like he's just wearing clothes, but it's almost like he's wearing armor. His skin is relatively tough.
So I'm just gonna kind of look back at Luna, as that's gonna be my turn.
With your hand on his neck, Gregory, you can see him turning, and as he looks over at Quill, whose blade just carves into his stomach, you can see that wound on his stomach.
Carve, I said with the blood.
As you
side.
batter, you can see this.
Yeah,
this
bruises
beneath the
ribs.
opening of shirt. You can see that dark spot beginning to sort of fade, almost like water dispersing, like a dirt or mud. As it seems like he doesn't seem to be doesn't seem to be phased at all by the strikes that you've landed on him.
You, a wild animal walks with her. You are dangerous. Calm yourself. Calm yourself.
As Gregory, I'm gonna need a wisdom saving throw.
Hey.
Yep, as you see his eyes begin to flare bright, and you can see for a moment, you can hear that growling, that rumbling, that fire begin to fade ever so softly inside you, Gregory, but then, no, you're not going to let his take you. It seems like this guy can just take people's minds and force them to do things or forget things, and you're not going to let that happen, as the fire just burns brighter in you, and you are unfazed by it.
Okay, your time is done. The gods have all sought to take you away from here. Your secrets be laid bare.
Then do as you wish. Use
Some of
your
my
power.
words are almost not my own.
As he just seems to go sort of limp in your hand to stare down at you as looks like Quill's readying another strike. As Samantha, it comes to you.
It is twice now you have tried to influence my friends, but they are valiant, and you will find your true death here. As Samantha brings all of her attention to bear on this thing, on this monster, whispers about lying and taking away pain, though it's a good thing. She can't help but feel disgust towards this man. As... seeing this shadowy armor that roils over him and keeps him safe from the strikes of all of her fellows, she understands magic a lot more now, and how to undo it, as she is going to channel a bit of magic from her scepter into a tiny little green serpent that is just going to latch onto the shadow and wrap itself around it and bite into it, trying to poison the magic itself and wrench it away from this man, as she's going to cast a little Dispel Magic at 5th level, because, hey, that's what my spell slots are at.
Sure. As this powerful magic overtakes him, you can see this serpent seem to sink its teeth into the actual cloak he's wearing, and just with one fell bite, it seems like this pulse of energy runs through it, and the shadowy cloak just seems to pull away from his body, as he is laid bare.
We may not have all the daylight we need, but she looks at Gregory. I think we have enough. As, I don't think there's anything I need to do as a bonus action. Yeah, because I can't aspect of the serpent because we haven't been at rest. So yeah, that's it for me.
Alright, as Persephone comes back to you, you see Gregory holding this man against this large stone skull, Quill battering him with his sword. Javen manages to land a blow, but doesn't seem to last. And Samantha seems to have stripped away whatever magic was protecting him.
We get a short rest, unless you use it just last fight.
Yeah, I used it last fight. We were surrounded by 5 vampire spawn. I need that 2 AC,
Sorry,
baby.
I was gone. I was burning myself to death.
Is Persephone able to catch on that he's trying to manipulate her friends? Does it look like anything?
Every once in a while, you'll see him like talk to Gregory. He seems to be trying to command him in a way, and his eyes seem ever so slightly. These like soft amber color becomes this bright red, but it seems like Gregory's able to shake it off.
Persephone's gonna climb up onto the table, digging into her herbalism bag and pulling out a small vial and holding it out to Luna. Here, in case he tries to do that again. As I offer her a vial of Coultrin. I don't know if that's going to take my action or if that's going to be my add extra action, but I want to give it to her.
Sure. As Luna Persephone hands you over this small vial that looks like some sort of elixir she's made.
It keeps your mind sharp.
Thanks. Okay. I don't know what that means, but okay.
Obviously, it puts nails in your brain. It's fine.
Would you consider that my action, Omen?
I'd say it's a free action. Unless you're trying to administer it to her.
No, I can't.
If just handing it over, it's fine. That's your item interaction.
Yeah, and seeing the magic move away from him, Persephone is going to concentrate on her own magic as a fiery dancer blooms out in front of him, but she needs to use a little more magic to do so. And as her dancer seems to be strengthened with this, there is now a sheath on her hip, and she's going to pull out a blade. I use my bonus action to ram her into him. And this dancer, now a blade dancer of sorts, is going to cut into him with her scimitar.
Nice.
Scimitar.
The S is so sharp, it cuts through that hard T. Like, boo. Come on, baby. Like, wow. As this flame comes alive, you see this dancer hold out her hand, this long, twisted scimitar that seems to basically spin around the air for a moment before it just suddenly bashes into this guy, as he's got to make a dexterity saving throw. Ooh, you see him, even though he's held down against this rock, he's able to turn, and you can see his hand go across the blood and throw it up in this flame scimitar's face. The liquid seems to help dissipate some of the heat, although it does take half damage. Nice.
And that's going to be my turn.
Alright, as Luna, it seems like this man offers you no true answers other than, well, it does make you wonder a little bit. That magic he used was yours. How can he do that? You never seen him do that.
As for... I'm mostly just trying to watch him. He seems not to be trying that hard to fight back. He's trying to manipulate my friends, but I feel like he could be doing more. So for this turn, I will use my action to swallow my Umbral Pearl to get 5 sorcery points back. Then a bonus action to change the second level into 2 more.
Nice. Start stockpiling shadowy energy within you.
What's your plan here, Eric? Are you just going to kill us all, or are you just going to let us kill you?
You can certainly try. But many stronger, more capable hunters than you have failed. So go on. Do your worst. Wear yourselves out.
He just sort of smiles and looks up at you, Luna.
Can I tell if he's like... Can I tell if he's like actually here?
How are you gonna do that?
Magic.
Let's
That's
investigate
in
him.
my time.
Okay. As Javen.
I use my action, so.
As Javen, you see Gregory sort of on the edge of the blood, and as well as Quill standing on the lip of this fountain, both assaulting Eric Gelner, although he seems to be just taking the strikes.
Gregory, something fishy here. As he's gonna try and punch the guy and stunning strike him this time.
Okay, gotta get a little closer.
No, I meant Quill. No.
Okay. Give me that punch. Ooh. As that will connect as your fist comes flying in his face. This time, he's talking to Luna. You take his place, Javen, and then I guess you go around. Yeah, okay. Go next to the fiery thing, and swing your fist down. And this strikes into the back of Eric's head as that will connect. You're gonna stunning strike him? Alright, let's see. Ooh, as that strike reverberates in the back of his head, your ki sends through his body, and eventually his eyes sort of dull over for a moment, but his expression doesn't change, as seems like he's not... I mean, he wasn't really moving much before, now he's even more not moving. Seems like he's almost like sort of lost some of his consciousness for just a moment. He's just sort of standing there.
So I'll punch him 2 more times.
Okay, give me those punches with advantage. Ooh. This one strike connects deftly and strikes him very, very rigidly in the back of the head. Another one also connects as well, continuing to just this onslaught.
Oh no, the son of the beast!
Nice.
On this terrible, terrible creature. But again, the strikes just seem to bounce off his head sort of rolling to and fro, but he still remains standing. He is quite a hardy creature.
So that'll be his turn.
Okay, let me double check. Give me a dexterity saving throw, Javen.
Oh yeah, now he's in the fire.
Oh yeah. Don't
As you're
stand
standing next to
Should
the
be fine.
spinning fiery dancer. It is fire, so yeah.
It is.
As you
Javen.
see, you just pull back from this combo you delivered onto the doctor. You hear suddenly this crackling of fire, and you turn, and you definitely dodge the last second as this fiery scimitar comes swinging past you wildly. As you take no damage.
Yeah.
Milo is so jealous right now.
As Gregory, you're holding this man in your hand.
Fuck you, goddammit. As I see the fucking fist come in, and he just sort of eyes go in an odd direction. It seems like the sense got knocked out of him a bit. motherfucker, as I just take his neck and pull him to the ground as I'm just going to try to shove him prone.
Sure.
So basically just throwing him into the blood underneath
fine.
him.
As it seems like he doesn't offer you really any resistance, as with that hand still on him, big splash of blood as he is knocked prone.
Yeah, as I release the grapple, though, as I just throw him onto the ground, throw him on his hands and knees. I'll put an end to this fucking nightmare as I take up my sword in both my hands and just bring it high and just try to bring it down onto his neck.
Okay.
Fucking evil. As I strike down, great weapon master, my rage of burning, as light starts to surge through my blade, as I strike with some advantage. Just
That will connect.
as I cut into his neck, as I just pour this radiant energy into my blade, as that cool darkness, that sort of peeling light that seems to almost crack the skin, also cuts in, possibly, as a little bit of blade cutting deep, as the smite, this radiant energy radiates off of the blade as well. Has a little bit of that necrotic energy as well, given by Malar. Cuts in ever so slightly.
Ew.
Is that more than 3 damage types on 1 attack? Yeah, the game short circuits and crashes.
Yeah, it seems like the sort of extra gift by Malar only does so much, but that burning light on your sword, Gregory, that sword cutting down to his neck, you're surprised with that much force and with how little resistance he puts up, that you didn't just remove his head, but it seems like it cuts into the neck and sort of stops, but the light begins to burn and crackle away at his flesh, and you can actually hear him sort of growl, softly and quietly, not in horrible pain, as it seems like this energy is taking over him. Ugh.
Oh, this dog. And this is it. Oh, that death! Fucking suffering you cause. And this is it! No! As I just sort of put my hand across my head, as I just take a step back, as it all just doesn't feel right, as just try to control himself, but it's all just too much, and Grigor just fighting with his own mind. But that's him.
Alright. As Quill, you see this creature first only taking a few blows, and even the striking of your blunt sword only did so much to phase him, but now that Javen sort of extra held him still, and with Gregory's opening blow, he seems like he's taken a devastating amount of damage. Wide open for you.
Do you want us to end him, Luna?
Be my guest.
So be it. I'm going to swing out at him with the pointy end.
Okay. Give me that attack roll with advantage. Ooh, as that will connect, as he seemed like he struck down to the flesh, and again, it's also quite pretty hardy, but fortunately with Gregory's opening strike and with this Banner Will move, you can actually land a pretty hefty blow on his body as you carve right into his skin.
Swing again. Ooh.
Oof.
Ooh, but this next time as you swing down, you can see his body actually lurch out suddenly, and as the blood splashes against his twitching form, it catches you up against your sword, and you have to sort of reflexively defend against it, but you realize, you're swung a miss.
As the blood kind of squirts up, I'm gonna just spin around quickly as the sword flashes twice again.
Ooh, as both those will connect. I strike, cutting into his body, cutting more and more of his nice dapper clothes into ribbons, as it seems like you guys are just simply tearing this man apart.
So I'm just gonna form a defensive stance in case he gets up somehow.
Sure. Your turn?
Yep.
Cool. As this man on the ground, you see him trying to rise, but he sort of slips a little bit in the blood. You can just hear him sort of mumbling under his voice in the sort of slurred words.
Gone. Maybe at it.
As that's all he can do. Samantha.
As Samantha is quite focused on Eric Gellner, but there's a degree of hesitation. This monster, such a devious plotter, yet something seems slightly off, so she'll just depend on the old reliable, as she'll form Eldritch Blasts on her scepter and infuse them with wretched energy, trying to slam home. Maybe normal shots?
Yeah, they'd be normal. He is stunned, but he's also prone.
Boys, hop forward, blast him twice in the back, then hop back.
I think he auto takes the fire damage too.
Yep, he already did.
Ooh.
Ooh, as both of those will connect. As just walking to him. Ooh, 31 damage, nice. As both shots hit him in the side. It's hard to push him any further forward as he's also basically pressed up against this stone.
Yeah, try to
skull.
poison him.
Sure. As he seems to be... The energy starts to course throughout his body. Ooh, and it seems like it begins to overtake him as his pale skin starts running full of these black and green veins. As he seems to be sickened as well.
And, yeah, Samantha's just... She's almost confused. That's it for
Okay.
me.
Persephone.
This is going too easily. As she says that, she's going to wave her hand down using a bonus action to strike him with her fire dancer. Where are you?
Ooh. As the fire just comes battering into his body, the scimitar cutting a hot swath of flame across his form. Again, it seems like even in his blood, his back, his clothing seems to be burning away.
I'm gonna lift the ring up to my finger. I'm using action to speak into it to all of my friends. Keep your eyes sharp. It can't be over this quickly. And use the holy water that the guy gave you. That's it.
Okay. Luna,
Yes, of course.
man that you once called your father and once considered something like it, is now on his knees, his back burning away as this magical entity is cutting into him. Javen's striking him in the head. Gregory almost removed his head, and Quill is carving his back to ribbons. Looks like he's on death's door.
Going to walk closer in between Quill and Gregory and look down at this one that I once still possibly care for. There's no need to fix this. I know you won't die here. You've tried this before, as I will firebolt him in the face.
Blast of white energy hits him. Ooh! Doing a good amount of damage. You can see it strikes in his face, and if it weren't for some of the blood spattered on him, it seemed like it would burn away the flesh, but instead you see it bubbling and slowly but surely trying to reform, but unable to, as it did before.
Is that will be my turn?
Alright. As Javen, standing above this thing, you see now this battered and broken man, quite easily fell before you, is now basically on death's door. Although you're still standing next to this dancing, cutting fire thing. What do you do?
Alright, I guess I'll try it, as he will take out the flask of holy water and put it on his hands.
Okay.
Holy punch!
Kind of action that.
Maybe a bonus action, just like administering a potion.
As he's no longer stunned, I believe. It's the beginning of his turn.
I think it's the end of your next turn. End of your next turn.
Stunned is really good for looping into itself because you still have advantage on your attacks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how we couldn't get Kogar to talk for 3 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
As I feel like he's close to death, but I can't tell because it's kind of on top of his health points.
Mhm.
Possibly. I'm gonna punch him
Don't look good.
twice, but also still stunning strike.
Sure. pour some holy water over your fist. You see this liquid glistening on your hands, and you strike down into him. And as your fist connects, you feel that hard fist hit the body, and then there's almost like this pop against it as you deal an additional 1d6 radiant damage. As that first strike will connect, the second one will not. Do that, 1d8. 2. 1d6. Ooh, a little extra that. Trying to stun
Stunning
him.
strike.
As stunning strike. Ooh, as he is unable to keep himself moving, as again, you strike him again, his words become a bit more whole as he speaks, but then again, poof, strike his head hits the blood and pulls itself back up, unable to speak as he just spits up a big old mouthful of the sanguine liquid. He's still stunned.
Alright, that would be his turn.
Alright, as Gregory, you're looking down at this man, it seems like he's out on death's door, broken and cut up quite easily.
Tell me what the hell you are. To hell me! As I just bring my sword and raise it up in both hands, the blade pointing down, and just put the blade on his back. Tell me what the hell you are. Feel the end of this, huh? Fuck. Then looking down and realizing that he's just in this stupor, unable to talk or refusing. Fuck! As I just try to stab the sword straight down through his back, spearing him to the ground.
Alright, give me that strike.
As I just strike with all my strength, as already unable to defend himself, just trying to finish this. 18.
As an 18 will hit.
As I just spear the blade through his body as it clinks onto the stone underneath him, digging into the blood underneath, as I just leave it there, pierced into.
As you stab down harshly into his body, you can feel the tip of the sword actually hit through the stonework and almost lock itself as his body gets impaled by it. And though
that small little bout of energy seems to crack and break away at his body.
Ooh. Nice.
That pale moonlight.
That pale light stabs down. You feel that you basically impale him to the ground, going straight through his back, worn and tethered. And you feel that energy course through your sword, that soft light, and you can see it cracking along his skin as his body immediately recoils from the pain. Although it seems like it doesn't spread too far. Again, you twist the blade a little bit, and that crack suddenly spreads thoroughly. And all around you, you feel the sort of pulse, and then Eric Gelner just seems to become destroyed. His body just seems to explode outward in this burst of it looks like smoke until it wafts across your face and it feels wet and cold like fog in the dead of night, as this creature is now just reduced seemingly to nothing.
No! I just leave the blade on the ground held with one hand as the blade is just slightly pierced in the stone, bring my hand up to my neck and just feel the pain in it. Oh! Oh! Does the pain subside?
You feel it sort of dulling for a moment, and then it starts to sting again, more and more, as you see that smoke that billowed across your face, that mist begins to coalesce into this form, this silvery ball that floats above you. Seems like it's not quite over yet. This thing, you can see within the mist, it begins to shape and take form. Some of the blood within the water sort of lingering in, giving it some sort of shading or darkness. You can see the very vague facsimile of a face within.
What are you? As I just bring the blade around, it starts to shine with radiant light as I just try to strike through this mist. And
Sure, give me an attack roll.
Strike with all my might, and just... Oh, I didn't say it. I'm being reckless this whole time. I'm not fucking defending myself. I'm just fucking striking through him, trying to cleave that light. Connect with.
As you swing your blade, Gregory, and hits the middle of that cloud as it coalesces, and then that light spreads and seems to separate it instantly. And you can see again, almost like it feels like you hit something solid for a second. And it recollects.
So I feel that connection. I'm powering in. So no damage? It didn't actually hit anything?
Seems like you hit it.
Okay, good.
But the moment it cuts apart, it
Yeah,
reforms itself.
I just surging as much magical energy, this radiant light into it as possible. It looks like a decent amount as I just cleave straight through the center of this thing, trying to dissipate it, but my mind is just a raging hot coal, and I'm not quite sure what the fuck I'm trying to accomplish at this point.
The light seems to crackle off of your sword, turning that dull moonlight into a brighter, more radiant, almost like a burn of the sun. Seems to crackle and seem to fill this cloud with light, and again you see it disperse and then back into a single cloud again. The light of the gods ran through this thing, Gregory, and it's still pulling itself back together.
What the fuck are you? I just stumble back a step as I'm trying to strike out at this thing, and it's just not fucking working. And that is my turn. If it counts as killing the thing, I'd strike one more time. But it seems like my blows aren't affecting it.
Seems like the confusion of this moment, that momentum you'd have, where you'd be moving on to another target or striking something again, gets thrown off, realizing that you are hitting this thing. It's not some sort of weird illusion where it looks like you are. You feel your blade connecting with this, the light searing into the mist. But no matter what you do, no matter how much you carve, no matter how much of the god's light you have on your side here, vanquishing this evil, the evil remains. It's like constantly like uprooting plants, looking to try and remove the last small piece of the fiber that keeps this evil thing alive, of this seed of evil, and there's just more of it and more of it. And as you end your turn, Gregory, as you sort of come down from this mist swims in front of you and flies past all of you. Krill, your sword's ready at your hand to swing, and you realize this thing has no real discernible movement, as it seems to not engage any opportunity attacks. But it comes to your turn.
Luna, you have to end this somehow. So I'm just gonna move. And I guess I'll just swing twice.
Sure. Just swing your sword at this thing. Both attacks connecting. The last one seeming to barely connect. And again, you feel like as you're cutting into it, the magic of your sword seems to light. It's like you've cut through at least one point in your life an incorporeal thing, and you know that your sword will spark with light and seem to actually cut what isn't cuttable. But as you do, the mess form seems to reform itself, twisting itself back into a corporeal form.
It's gonna be my turn.
Okay, as you do, seems like this thing, as you pull your blade away, realizing this thing's not going down. Greg's sword didn't work.
I would do that just in case.
Sure.
There's nothing else to do with my bonus.
This thing, once again, on your turn, as you come down to the end of your action, getting ready to take a defensive stance, this thing brushes itself up against this large door in front of you. Nice. Hits this wall, and you can see where the doors connect to each other. It seems to pillow into itself, and then this thing seems to vanish and fly through the door. Let's see. Ooh. Aha! As after a few moments, you guys see this thing moving and flying off in this direction, hit the door, and it vanishes as if it slipped through the cracks. Is there anything you guys want to do? You chasing after it, or what are you doing?
Oh yeah, I'm charging straight at that door.
Chase after it. Do I?
Okay.
But guys,
Purse doesn't immediately go after it. When the mist starts forming, she's actually going to start looking at the big pillars of blood to see if they're reacting in some way. She's thinking maybe she can glean an answer by looking around the altar, because he was here He was hidden here, waiting here. There has to be a reason for it. So she's trying to get something from her environment.
Okay. We're gonna let Samantha. What do you want to do? We're gonna come into this last round of initiative before something changes.
I would like to attempt a knowledge check.
For what?
For this creature was named, or Eric Gunner was named as a vampire, so comparing, trying to see what it is I know about vampires.
Sure. Give me a religion check. Yeah, not bad. There's a lot of folktale about the word vampire. Often it's thrown around, and sometimes the place of zombie. It's referred to some undead thing brought back by unholy magic, usually trying to eat the living. But you have a bit more cursory knowledge of such things as vampires. You know that, at least in this general sense, they're typically hard to kill. They're these epitomes of darkness, of monstrosity. They don't just eat things, they drink their blood, they take their vitality. They can transform into animals, into various shapes, into monsters at times. But all you really know about them that really applies is that their greatest weakness is the light of the sun, or something somewhat similar to it. And, I mean, normal vampires, maybe? That's what you know, light the sun, stab them, cut off their head, stab them through the chest, seems to kill them. This thing, I mean, if this is a vampire, it's got to be some sort of strong version of a vampire. Something either long ago, born in this world, possibly having more magic to it than more cursory knowledge is available, or... Fuck, maybe there's some magic behind him that's keeping him alive.
That's why I wanted her holy symbol. As Samantha sprints up towards the door. We're going to need the light of the sun, or the light of Malah, the moon. Your blessings.
You also recall from what Pharaoh told you that this place seems to be his hold, whatever the fuck that means, like his lair, and it seems like he must be removed from it in some way, shape, or form. He finds rest here, and that rest must be disrupted.
We cannot allow him to rest, to recuperate. He'll come back from what that was. As Samantha's going to try to open the door.
Sure. You run to this wall, you take these handles of the door, they feel oddly cold as if they'd been touched by ice. As you take it and throw them open, and you can see deeper in this chasm. Looks like another walkway into the which your vision seems to carry. Just barely makes out maybe the sign of the door at the end.
If you have some way to call on the sun, or its reflection in the moon, bring it. We have to stop him now, as Samantha just continues to run 10 more feet. If that wouldn't be an action to open the door, would it? So I can dash?
It'd be an item interaction.
Okay. Samantha would dash.
Sure. As you make your way deeper, you can see at the end of this hall, looks like another door, and then to your left, strangely enough, it looks like one of the walls had caved in, and it just looks like this deep, dark chasm dropping off farther than your dark vision can carry you. And beyond that, it looks like maybe a continuation of their hallway across this chasm. How deep this place goes, it's hard to say, but it seems like there's more. So much more here. As with that, it seems like after a few moments, catching your breath, kicking down the door, looking around, you don't hear any sounds, there's nothing accosting you. It seems like you guys can act freely now, and Persephone, you said you wanted to check something?
Yeah, I wanted to look at the big thing's blood over on the side, because when he turned into a mist, that was Gregory? Yes, Gregory?
It is 10:30.
Yes.
You say you need to leave at 10.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to?
I'm asking my question.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's trying to glean an answer as to maybe she can see if anything changed when he turned into a mist. Just flickering of the blood. She wants to see if there's a connection between what this fountain is here for and what he was doing.
It seemed like the blood itself seemed to ripple and puddle for a second as he transformed, but nothing around here really seemed to react. Seems like whatever purpose this room serves, has nothing really to do with what he just did.
Okay, that's all I wanted to do, investigate.
Okay. As you guys come to the end of here, Samantha, you look to your left, and again, you see the door in front of you and this great expanse, this chasm next to you guys. It seems like there's so much more to this place. You're looking around. All you see down here is the single set of doors.
As I'm charging at those fucking doors.
Yeah.
Okay.
And try to open them before Gregory literally runs her over.
Samantha, you open up the doors, you pry them open. It seems like they're kind of jostled, like locked. Take your hands on them, shake them, and they're not budging.
Hearing the heavy footfalls of Gregory, she just goes full serpent and just backs away, slithers away and out of the way from him. Try not to get hit by the door as it flings open, hopefully.
I'm just going shoulder first. And
Alright, as you're running forward, bashing your shoulder into this door, it opens wide, and Gregory, you step immediately inside of this room as you almost hit a wall before the ground beneath you seems to just give me a dexterity saving throw.
if I step in here, I know fucking hunting my prey. See the fall before me. I'm not gonna let this fucking thing stop me. Maybe I.
As you take a step forward, your great weight presses down on this cracked earth, and suddenly you see Samantha. As Gregory steps forward, he just immediately descends.
Can I try to
Gregory.
grab him with my thorn whip to pull him back? Or is
give
that
me a
does
straight
that
up
happen
dex
too fast?
check.
Dex. Where are you?
Oh, as by the time you realize that something's happening, you see Gregory and his glowing sword descend. As Gregory, you crash into the ground, your sword scattering next to you as you take 10 bludgeoning damage as you hit the ground hard. You realize this room, because you're angry, as you realize this room you're in, it's a trap. You guys were played. Still more to find in this dungeon, although it seems like you've struck a lethal blow, or supposedly, into this doctor. He moves. He continues to fight. He continues to, I guess not really fight. He didn't really put much of a fight against you guys. He sit there heavy breathing, some of you having expended resources and power trying to take this thing down, realizing he's not done yet. As that is where we will end tonight's session.
Yay!
With the Valiant Vanguard having hit a dead end.
Down in a hole.
Poor Greg.
God, that was good. Well, I hope you all enjoyed tonight's session. I know I most certainly did. And I'm definitely looking forward to more of it as we'll continue chasing after Dr. Eric Gelner, this foul vampiric monster. And hopefully put an end to the horrible rituals he's been putting into place in this place. And hopefully put an end to Gregory's curse mark from Malar, because God, he's so loud. It's awful. Well, I certainly hope to see you for our future games this upcoming Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern for Kingdoms of the South and all the fun things going on there as the Apex Alliance continue on in the Warren of the Druids, pressing on through their dungeon, and then coming back Thursday for Song of Rapture. As expected, coming back at 7:30 p.m. Eastern next week on Thursday for some more Song of Rapture as the Valiant Vanguard press on in the lab of Eric Gelner, this expansive dungeon full of monsters and sadness. This has been a really fun Halloween stream, really fun dressing up. Hope you guys had fun hanging out with us. Sorry for the various technical issues, but, you know, it happens. The ghosts and spirits were in our machines tonight, I guess. We're gonna go, of course, host somebody else playing some D&D or something similar. And as always, your dice roll 20s, you always make your saves.
Later, y'all.
Toodles.
Ba, 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 ba. It's a book and a game. Hopefully, we'll get to play it. Maybe not. I don't know. Probably never.
Asleep.
Yeah.
Guys, we're getting raided. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah. No, he's just watching.
Lionhead
some fine
Gaming, thank you
lady.
for the raid. Appreciate that so much. Welcome, raiders.
Perfect time to show up. I
Yeah.
think.
Howdy.
After that dramatic intro.
Yes.
So you go into that first door, and it brings you into a room that goes to the cellar, and then there's a door, kind of like a newer door, a makeshift door in the cellar. It's dark and damp and smoke. You know exactly how to open it, and it brings you down into.
Can you describe how I open it?
There's a latch that so it's like needs to be. There's a latch that's hard to see on the side of the door that needs to be found in order to actually get it open. And you walk down a set of down a staircase, well, sort of stairs onto complete dirt. It's a dirt floor, and the walls are stone. And didn't I? Okay, I forgot to tell you all something important.
Oh,
That was
no.
when we were when you were talking to Athanasius, he
Oh,
explained.
this was a while
that-
ago.
Yeah, he explained specifically. He told you specifically where he knew his brother was going.
Oh, yeah, we didn't get that.
All I said was the catacombs, which isn't going to help a lot. He said a specific location called the Black Corner, which
Black Corner?
yeah, Smoke, you know about it.
That sounds like a fun place.
I'm going to
Ooh.
please ignore
no.
that figure.
I was gonna be like, that's so spooky.
What figure? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh my
Roll
god.
initiative.
Roll initiative.
Initiative.
Monka W. Holy shit.
This is kind of where you're headed right now.
Okay.
Secret. Oh.
Secret tunnel.
Secret tunnel.
Secret tunnel. So this
Probably
tunnel.
not Bond Street.
This tunnel appears to be illuminated, but I just want to ask: are the tunnels illuminated?
So you're going through a tunnel that is illuminated because it's frequented.
Right.
But a lot of them are not. So let me just find some notes. This is a little bit clumsy right now.
So this area is illuminated, but the areas past it might not be.
Were you like some kind of human who doesn't have dark vision?
Yes.
That's oh, wait, I'm human.
That's fine. We have 2 humans in the party. This is
Fine.
important information for me to know.
Milady and my fine gentleman, please. I will guide you through. I will hold the lady's hand, and Cat, you can hold the cat.
Oh, you will?